this love that you never started. You once destroyed a broken heart that was already shattered. Holding on to what we have, you take us to the edge and back. Holding on to what we have, you take us to the edge and back.
Good evening and welcome everyone to the Black Twitch League's Grand Finals for Season 8. I am Gaspump, joined by Phantom, and we have an absolutely dynamite best of 5 here for you tonight. It's Team Ishtar versus Active Rush, now about to get underway with our first draft of the evening.
Alright, so it's me, Phantom, your boy. Joined out of none other than Gaspump yourself. I'll be on the color, Gaspump on the play-by-play. So, Team Ishtar, Active Rush, really big hype match. Probably the two best teams in this entire season. Of course they are, that's why they're here in finals. And right out of the bat, I just want to say, Ishtar and Active Rush, for technical reasons, have never had a true actual game together with this current lineup. Every single time they face each other, Active Rush had to use a lot of subs. So this is actually the first time we'll see them be duking it out. All the data is completely unknown, and you were to ask me who is the better team here, I really don't know. But what I will say is Team Ishtar has been the undefeated giant, hasn't dropped a single game this entire split, and if you were to ask me who is the weak link on Team Ishtar, I really can't say.
On the flip side of that, Active Rush has had a slightly spottier record in this season, but they've also had roster issues in a number of the games that we've seen them play, Phantom. And I think that this is something that has been talked about very heavily in the BTL, is the simple fact that if Active Rush can get their full 5-man roster together, it's like assembling Exodia. And we saw that last week with Active Rush taking the 3-0, rather the 2-0 into leave against Team Mental. And I have to wonder if that power is going to be enough to handle Team Ishtar in this series. It's kind of like this established known quality of extremely competent players versus the dark horse that is Active Rush.
Going in, I would say the biggest difference between Team Ishtar and Active Rush is when I look at Team Ishtar, I guess if we rate everybody on like a 1 to 5 scale, I would say like Ishtar has like all 4 out of 5s.
Yeah, they
have no actual 5s. But Active Rush has a couple 5s with like a couple 3s.
Well, it depends on the game, too. I've seen players from Active Rush, every single one of them pop off at one time or another. But as you say, Phantom, every single member of Team Ishtar is a role player. They always manage to step up in one way or another, and they work so well as a coordinated 5v5 squad that I wonder if Active Rush is going to find a way in, even with some of their players with insane pop-off potential. Like we've seen Expo go absolutely nuts in games before. So I have to see here, but talking about the picks and bans so far, Ornn, Set, Syndra versus the Trundle, Nautilus, Echo for both of these teams, and to no surprise whatsoever, first pick Ornn in the BTL.
So, this is actually quite interesting because there has been hype for ages where notable people like LS will say Echo is one of the best mid laners in the game if played by the right specific people. And so, we also have rumors that Nautilus is a good champion, but he's starting to sink a bit in the meta priority. So you have Team Ishtar, who has probably like the holy trinity right now of the power picks. They have the Ornn, they have Set,
Well, the
they
BTL's
have Syndra.
power picks, right? Exactly. These are champions that we've seen go off time and time again in this league.
And then you have Active Rush, who is kind of breaking the theme here. They see Ornn, they counter pick go to Trundle. They say, okay, we want a good gank sub in a bot lane, so we go Nautilus. And then when they see the Syndra, they pick Echo. And Echo is a champion that I've very rarely seen people pull this off correctly. But if there's anybody I'm expecting to turn Echo into a hype champion, it is indeed Echo. I mean, not Echo. Expo. Echo, Expo. Echo, Expo. Try saying that 5 times fast.
I think you just did there, Phantom, but you make a great point there. Echo is a champion with an enormous skill ceiling that really does require a mid laner to have a lot going for them, knowing their own priority, how to be across the map, how to play these range versus melee matchups, and into Syndra is an interesting matchup. Again, if Expo is smart with that,
See, you're doing it now.
Is it Exo?
Expo.
Expo. Oh my goodness gracious.
tongue
Call me an
twister, man.
ambulance. So Expo on this champion really does have a lot that they can do here into the Syndra, but it requires them getting through lane without getting put in the grave, right? And I think that there are certainly ways to exploit this Echo pick, but we've seen Expo's playstyle, and I think that Echo is a very good champion to bring to the table here. Let's talk about this bot lane, though. Misfortune Nautilus, the lock-in for Active Rush, versus the Ashe and potentially Set. We have seen Set support here once or twice in the BTL. It's a flex pick for sure, likely to go into the jungle if it doesn't.
So, I want to add something really quick right now. So, if you were to define Active Rush's playstyle to a T, it would be Camp Expo, Expo gank side lanes. That is how they routinely win games, through mid-jungle synergy, and that transitions into side lanes.
Right.
But, there's a very interesting champion that Ishtar just picked, Ashe.
Ooh, okay. Now
And I think you get where I'm going here. If your playstyle is revolving around jungle, snowballing mid, and going to side lanes, so like a double jungler playstyle,
Yeah.
that can be so easily countered just through Ashe's single ability in her hawk shot.
Right. Again, the vision that grants is absolutely enormous. But I want to talk about these last two picks, Mordekaiser and the Sylas, right? These are two champions who really do have a pretty high ceiling here, and I would not be surprised. See, this is a classic Active Rush thing. The maximum flex, right? Who know? Like Trundle, Echo, and Sylas are all kind of interchangeable across the map. I mean, I personally suspect that we'll see Trundle or Sylas top. The Trundle is probably a better jungler, and we have seen Bladed Thesis run that several times. This is certainly something that we're going to be looking for the actual champion select to get into here as we pop on into the client for that one. But yeah, you talk about the Hawkshot. I think it's such a good ability and a good choice here to shut down the roam potential of Expo in the mid lane.
I think it's really interesting, and we also have a good old battle, as you like to call it, the battle to skill ceiling versus the simplicity. When you look at Ishtar, it's really ready, set, go button. So the Ornn, the Set, the Syndra, the Ashe, and then you have Active Rush, Sylas, Echo, even Trundle to a certain extent with how he uses his pillar.
Yes.
These are all champions that have to be performed at a very correct and precise manner, where how they use their mobility spells between Echo and Sylas can just decide the turning of so many team fights.
Right.
But then you have Ishtar, where you have Cinderella, R. Slap them with that R.
Yeah.
So can Active Rush actually pull this off? And as for a drafting advantage, I would say Active Rush is a little bit on the back foot, because the way Mordekaiser can just run at their entire comp and even cancel the Misfortune ult correctly, Mordekaiser is not a broken champion, but he's a champion that feels very broken very quickly if you don't actually have the things that stop them.
Now, it's worth mentioning they did flex that Ornn into the jungle, and we've seen this a couple of times in the BTL where the Ornn has been first pick into top to bait out the counter pick, but a very good call out by the side of Active Rush to put Sylas up there against the Mordekaiser and then have Trundle in the jungle. This will put behind the Ornn's points of effectiveness significantly with that reduced jungle economy.
So, I'm going to explain Sylas top lane really fast because I'm really excited about this. A little fact that some people on stream might not know about me is I'm actually on a wildcard region team right now as coach. And my top laner specifically is Leo, and he is master in top lane, and his favorite champion is Sylas top. And I'm going to tell you right now, he actually loves the Mordekaiser matchup.
Really? So what's so good about this Sylas and the Mordekaiser match?
A big thing that is about it is with Sylas's E, with that magic shield, and the fact that he can kind of outmaneuver Mordekaiser a little bit,
Yeah.
allows him to go for a lot of favorable trades. The W kind of allows him to out the stamina trade, so Silas can really go in, go out, do a little bit of this guerrilla warfare. And in the fact that he gets to steal Mordecai's result and use the stat stealing type concept against him is just very nice.
Right, and Silas does an enormous amount of healing, and Mordekaiser generally looks to kind of stat check most of his opponents in lane, and this is, I think, is a very good solution to that. You also still have Trundle to really deal with this mono main tank setup. Like, yes, Mordekaiser is going to get some beef from the Liandry's Torment and the Rylai's most likely, but it's going to be Ornn who's going to be the victim of that Trundle subjugate. And if Ornn is trying to frontline, missing 40% of his armor and MR, he's going to get obliterated by the rest of this Active Rush squad.
Down to simplicity versus complexness.
Complexness.
Well, it's a word now. We're going with it. Complexity.
But yeah, I think that's like such a good point here, and one that I always look at between teams at this skill level is what is the threshold of execution, right? Like, how well do you have to play a fight? How mechanically inclined do you have to be to make your composition work like it's supposed to? And the lower that floor, the easier it is to actually capitalize on the strengths of the champions you've drafted.
You gotta be kind of careful, because when you make your team comp too simple, it becomes easy to counterpick and work around. But at the same time, Ornn, Syndra, very flexible champions. If I was to critique Active Rush at all, it looks like almost all their bans in just around the first 1, 2, and 3 were focused on very specific people. Like top lane on Ishtar is a really stable Fiora player. Mid really likes that Anivia.
Right.
But still, just to give both Syndra and Ornn in the same draft is just ouch.
I think
Active Rush does get outscaled here.
They do, but I feel like it's not by an appreciable enough amount that they can't still be taking fights at 30 minutes, right? And I think that's going to be the cutoff. Like, if this game goes too much later, then yes, we will see Team Ishtar scaling up and Active Rush having problems. But this is also the first game of a best of 5. And if you're going to try to put a team off their comfort champions, try to do something of your own. This is the game to do it, right? Because you have bare minimum 2 more games to play after this one to figure it out, to redraft, and let the series meta develop potentially in your favor. So, game number 1, I've always felt like, especially in large series play, ends up being not necessarily a vertical slice of the series to come, but a great display of what both teams are looking to accomplish from square one across the 5 games.
So that being said, I want to make a really quick announcement before we head out. The owner of BTL, Ito, has announced recently with us that there will be a small raffle going on where for every 30 viewers, there's going to be a 25 RP giveaway. I am not fully aware of the specifics about it, so moderators, if you could please post those specifics in the actual chat, feel free to do that. So please spread the word. Every 30 viewers, we start a raffle.
All right, with that being said, we have reached the end of Spectator Delay. We'll be right back in just a few more minutes for the first game of our series. You won't want to miss it here on the Black Twitch League Twitch.tv channel. Good evening and welcome back, everyone. We're here for our first game of the series between Team Ishtar and Active Rush. I'm Gaspump, joined by Phantom, and both teams heading on off the fountain already. But first, let's do a quick introduction here for both of these squads. On the blue side starting, it is Team Ishtar with Tygoon in the top lane, Voperdo jungle, Ethan in the mid lane, Frostbite 80 carry, and Sincere support in a role true to his name.
And here for the red side, we have none other than Active Rush, Wretched Leg Beast in the top lane, Blade Thesis in the jungle, Expo in the mid lane, and in the bot lane, we have Storm number 8 and Volt Nelson in the bot lane as support.
Wonder what happened to the first 7 storms.
Number 1 was Katrina, and everything after that was just downhill.
Yeah. So there was a 5-man stack coming on through here for the side of Team Ishtar, and not exactly a lot of jungle control there. They got a little, trying to ward off the counter invade from Active Rush, but Active Rush not really going to go for that one here. Going to be seeing the mirrored bot side start, blue for the Trundle, and of course red for the Ornn here, as both teams head on into lane.
Disappointment. Active Rush had like a really huge chance to get warding advantage with level 1 of how Ishtar was grouping up to try to do a possible invade or 5-man stack. Missed out. Expo though, already at nearly 50% HP, really messed up on that level 1.
Yeah, Syndra at level 1 with Electrocute is a lot of damage, and you have to respect it. Is going to be forced to pop the first stack of the Corrupting Potion, so plenty of health going to be available for that Echo, and really, the early lane phase is going to be the hardest for Expo here, and just playing smart, playing safe, certainly a high priority for him.
Really interesting to see the set support.
Level
Personally,
2
I
advantage
actually
in the
really
bot
like
lane.
that.
VT Nelson taking a ton of damage, forcing the flash! Man, that aggression is insane from Frostbite and Sincere.
I really wish more support players would take the time to learn set support, because he's really good into the tankier picks that people like right now, like the Leona, like the Braum, like the Nautilus. Because with his E to just pull them back towards them, and his W with the true damage to just not care at all about their armor, a really useful tool to counter the tank support.
I mean, what are you supposed to do if you lose that race to level 2? I'm just gets absolutely bopped. Voperdo here finding Bladed Thesis, though. Trundle taking a fair bit of damage, forced to back on off. Mordekaiser has the inside track. Bladed Thesis has flash, forced to pop it there. Tygoon eating a tower shot for his trouble, but still the Trundle taking a ton of damage on out there from the Voperdo Ornn pick.
This is not the early game you want out of Active Rush. When you're the team that so heavily relies on your jungler to snowball your side lanes and your mid lane, is just, the impact is just not there. And my curiosity is Active Rush a team that can actually calm down when their jungler doesn't get them out of lane phase? Because there's so many teams, especially in the lower elos, that heavily demand jungler to do all the work in the early.
Right, and I think that's something that does, of course, remain to be seen. I'm very surprised that Trundle didn't opt to be more aggressive there, though the Ornn does have the option of picking up those items in the early game, so that stat difference not insignificant, though. Voperdo really kind of making his way around the map. Bladed Thesis is on the back foot to start things off, and man, that Syndra damage is just disgusting. Oh, no!
Stolen!
The stolen crab. Voperdo, you're a menace. Pop-up landing, maybe looking for some further play. The slow landing onto the Trundle, the clap not available. The flash already down. Bladed Thesis just getting absolutely savaged in his own jungle, right? Oh, Expo forced the flash as well. This is just an onslaught from the members of Team Ishtar.
This is write a book and write down everything you don't want to happen in the early game. And so far, just about all of it has happened against Active Rush.
Oh, man, just... This is Voperdo really flexing as a jungler, right? This Trundle really should not have that bad of a time into the Ornn, but the pathing, the decision-making, all very, very strong here. Bladed Thesis, we're finding Sincere support. The Facebreaker lands. Some bonus damage there. Be looking for this one. No Blast Cone available. Sincere support looking to walk this one on out, but Voperdo's Ornn was busy taking some of those camps, and Bladed Thesis simply cannot even go into his own jungle.
Well, if I could have a moment to explain what exactly happened for Active Rush in the early game that made this go so bad, is if you were to ask what was the most common place for early blood kills to happen in the amateur scene, it's actually in the top lane or the mid lane. For the top lane, it happens most specifically at that top pixel push where you go to enter the gank top lane. And a big reason for this is most junglers love rushing to level 3 and doing a top lane gank. So what happens is, if the top laner doesn't ward that bush in time, whichever jungler gets to that bush first has advantage. Because when jungler number 2 walks into that bush, he's just going to get a smack. And then he instantly loses the trade.
Well, you say
And
that,
that was
but
exactly what happened.
It was actually Voperdo who got to that bush second. But a lot of it came down to the fact that there's so much terrain there for Bladed Thesis to get juggled by the Ornn pop-up that he didn't really have a chance to try to turn the fight, and Mordekaiser was also pushing in against the Sylas. So, again, Tygoon getting there first to the fight meant that there was no real way for Bladed Thesis to even try and take that one.
Goes to show like how these early game level 3 2v2s can be so volatile, and why it's also something like you really want to consider in your drafts where you just go, okay, I'm the jungler. If I have to meet the other jungler in the early game,
Tygoon
do my
level
laners actually have my
6.
back?
Tygoon level 6, Bladed Thesis cannot try and take that gank. Yeah, smart choice by the Trundle. Back off, try to get some pressure. Yes, you're seeding the early dragon, but certainly not the worst case. I really do like the fact that Active Rush has not over-aggressed and given up anything, and the goal lead has remained insignificant despite that.
It's really what I wish a lot of teams would take notes, because far too often we see these teams where they'll literally be 10 kills by 6 minutes, and there is generally no reason for it. It's just calm down, be willing to give a few things up.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine.
Exactly. Like early Infernal Dragon is not great to give up, but the power of that individually is not worth giving up these kills, giving up more pressure, and teams being able to slow roll it is really the mark of a squad that has great communication and a great understanding of that team play. Oof. Oh no, Mordekaiser pulling Sylas into the Death Realm, stealing that, using that ult back and forth there. Sylas does have the Conquer, but that's so much damage from the Mordekaiser. Cooldowns used, Roach's Beast healing an enormous amount, does have the Flash, looking to get to safety, and finally will. Big mistake there from Rutledge, but he will at least manage to make it out with his life.
A few awkward trades there, definitely could have been playing better, but you come out with your life, you don't give up any kills. So, good job on Active Rush for slowing down the bleeding that Ishtar tried to inflict upon them. And like you said, they're still even in gold. If I was Active Rush right now, my main goal would just try your best to get Expo out of this mid lane, turn him into that second jungler you're used to, and then if I was Ishtar, keep on using the lane priority that Syndra has. Keep on doing what you were doing before. Get your jungler into the enemy jungler space, get that deep vision, and just make sure that Thesis can't have any impact on this game. Because if Thesis can't create impact, then that actually traps Expo into mid lane, which is exactly what you want to do against Active Rush.
Exactly. I mean, that's a huge shutdown factor, right? So I'm very curious to see, you know, how that's handled here now that ultimates are coming up and available. Ethan is just doing an enormous amount of damage. So this Syndra is really going to be a problem for the Echo if he's stuck here in the mid lane for much longer. So, going to be seeing Bladed Thesis look to aggress in onto this Rift Herald. The ultimate cooldowns are in favor of the side of Active Rush, should they choose to contest. And it looks like Voperdo knows that, will back off. He is, of course, getting close to the level 6 mark. Looking for the pink ward here, and should be able to find that without too much more trouble.
The Active Rush can look forward to these team fights is Thesis just has to press one single button, and he says to anybody on the team, you're made out of glass now.
Right, and I think that's most pressing for Voperdo as well as Tygoon, who are going to be forced to be in the front lines here. So I'm very curious to see where the ability usage goes, how Bladed Thesis is going to look to handle that. He is very close to level 6 mark, but Voperdo has beat him there. Sylas may be caught out just a little bit. Echo not in position. This is a potential catch, but without that Subjugate ultimate up, I'm not sure if it's a wise choice to try to aggress on that play.
Big note, Ishtar actually does have TP advantage, so if Mordekaiser can find a way to push out this top lane, they could just flat out dive the bot lane.
Yeah, we do see, actually, Rutledge taking the Ornn Horn as the ultimate of choice, stealing that away from Voperdo, so Bladed Thesis also hitting level 6 mark for that Subjugate, so another major cooldown available. In fact, every member of both teams now past level 6 mark with that ultimate. curious to see how those abilities get used. I feel like we're pretty close in for a big fight. Pop-up landing on Mordekaiser. Not a lot of damage.
He
Big
misses
miss.
E.
Big miss from Rutledge there. Doesn't have that ultimate available. Pulls him into the death realm. Trundle is up here trying to kite it out, but that damage from Mordekaiser is absolutely insane. Bladed Thesis now in peril as the ult comes through from Vopero, forcing that flash. A huge mistake from Rutledge's Beast to give up that first blood.
So I did say that Silas can be pretty good into Mordekaiser. Not if you miss C. Where about 50% of your damage is actually loaded in right now.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people aren't aware of is that a couple patches ago, when they did the great Silas rework, about all of his damage just reworked into his E. They took away damage from most of his other abilities, and his E now has 100% AP scaling now. So if you miss E, that is so much damage that's just gone.
You're doing nothing. Exactly. Now, Trindle does still have the Subjugate. Ultimate's used from both top and jungle Echo. Coming on through Vopero. The target is caught out, but the Wombo is there. That's a ton of damage onto Bladed Thesis. Mordekaiser looking to run him down. Syndra there already. They can't even lock down Vopero. What a huge mistake. Rutledge's Beast is coming on through here, trying to corner them out, but with Bladed Thesis falling already, this is going to be a tough contest to make. Though, with the low health bar of the Ornn and the recalls coming on through, it may not be a lost cause.
One big note, though, is that Ashold is still online, so if they try to go for one more team fight, Ash can interfere without even being there.
Yeah, that's certainly a thing to look at. I mean, Frostbite with the cross-map pressure, a big deal. And once again, 2 fights in a row from Active Rush that have felt very jittery. Like, the choice to go in there from the Trundle onto Vopero, questionable. I mean, I don't know how you're going to, actually lock the Ornn down with so much CC on board. And Tygoon, as huge of a threat as he is, now being fed 2 kills already. And not even, even in CS with Rutledge, who... This Silas pick has really not been a major factor so far this game.
One thing that is also to be said right now is that Rutledge does have TP now, so the opportunity to take advantage of their TP is now gone.
Yeah. Oh my god, look at that Mordekaiser damage. I mean,
This is why
VT
people hate facing
Nelson
Mordekaiser.
out in danger there. Does manage to flash on over the wall. A great use of that cooldown from the Nautilus. Still even getting popped up there, but out to safety nonetheless. Expo on this Echo still has not found his mark in the 1v1 versus Ethan, who Syndra has stayed extremely safe so far this game. Dragon started up by the Ornn, though. Vopero, sincere support. Frostbite already in position. Teleport coming through from Rutledge's Beast. Stormade in trouble. The Ashe ult will land, forcing the heal. Maybe the flash. Ornn is here. The Subjugate is in. A Facebreaker comes on through. VT Nelson in peril, but that's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Sincere support could be in danger, but a great grip punch and Stormate forced on back will get absolutely obliterated by the Ashe damage, and it's going to be Expo ticking on down as the kill is taken by Syndra. Frostbite found out by the Trundle. One more auto will take that kill. Rutledge's Beast now on sincere support, looking for that shield, but Tygoon and Ethan already maneuvering down into position. A nice stun lands. That's more damage. Bladed Thesis eats the ult, and another miss from Rutledge's Beast. He can't find his mark. The Ignite ticking on down. Sincere support looking for the Facebreaker. Gets that speed up on out. Rutledge's Beast eats the stun, eats the damage, looking for a desperate way on out to escape, but that Silas damage is enormous. He will take the kill. Look for the Blastcorn on out to safety, but Tygoon looking to secure that exit route, goes on in. That healing onto Ethan is insane. He pops over the wall, goes on back through, looks for the stun. Ethan in peril. Rutledge's Beast takes another. The respawn comes through from Expo. The teleport on in. The Echo CC is there. No Mordekaiser ultimate. Expo takes the kill on Vopero. It's now a 2 versus 1. And Rutledge and Expo escape. I don't believe the turn for Active Rush.
Rutledge just basically saved the game. It was looking over right there and then. If Rutledge did not make that recovery, that might have just been a nail to the coffin for the entire game right there. But Rutledge with a huge outplay. 3 versus 1. Hero story.
I am absolutely flabbergasted at what I just saw there, Phantom. Despite every single thing being against him, Rutledge's Beast makes outplay after outplay and makes the dream work. Gold dead even, Dragons dead even, and it's all off the back of some incredible play from Rutledge's Beast on the Sylas.
Honestly, the exact reason why my top laner Leo loves Sylas so much, because this is a champion where once you actually put in the grind to learn him, can just perform the most unbelievable outplays. His E, his W, just allows him to sustain and outmaneuver in so many fights. And this is just what many champions, they're just not capable of doing these scenes. And so my big question is now, if Rutledge can routinely do this fight after fight with all these squishy targets that he has to kill, they really gotta lock him down.
Oh, absolutely. And Rutledge's Beast went from 0-1 to 3-1-1. That is a huge turn, and not to mention a huge pile of gold in his pocket for these upcoming plays. Not to mention, Expo got in on that one as well, picking up that final kill. And I am just, again, shocking how that turn comes on through there. And what looked to be a very clean set of plays for Team Ishtar is almost immediately diffused from these active rush carries.
Being said, Ishtar did just pick up the Riptrold. I would really like to see them very soon and quickly use this Riptrold onto either top or mid. A big mistake that most of these teams make is they use Riptrold way incorrectly. They wait too long to use it, so then they miss out their big chance. And right now, it looks like Jungler's
caught on out. There's the pop on through. Does grab that. Arnold on up, but fights happening all across the map. Ashe under peril. Stormmate has the ultimate available. The dunk coming through from the set. Stun lands, looking to kite it on back. Tygoon in trouble, looking to kite out Bladed Thesis, who's now out of the Death Realm. The stun does land from Rutledge. They do manage to take the Mordekaiser in a 1-for-1 top lane, but both Stormmate and VT Nelson fall in the 2v2 bot.
So on a bot lane, these are really things that cannot afford to be happening. You see a play that's going on in top lane that would be potentially really good for your team. All you need to do is just sit back, wait, let the good news happen. But no, instead you try to force the play in bot lane. You do it a 2v2 fight. You lose bot lane tower. So now instead of waiting to get your possible win in top lane, you end up giving away something that you didn't have to give away. When your jungler is not in your lane, that is the time to play safe and be patient, especially when you're against something like Ashe that can just start a play whenever she wants.
Not just that, but the Ashe set, VT Nelson dunked directly on top of Stormmate's head. There was no opportunity for the flashless Misfortune, who didn't even have the heal up either, to reposition in that fight. I mean, even if you don't have the summoner disadvantage there, the Ashe set is not a 2v2 matchup that you should be looking to take at this stage of the game, unless you have the drop on them and the position for a really strong Misfortune ultimate. They didn't have that. The follow-up was completely stuffed, and now Frostbite, the beneficiary of both of those kills.
And it was criticized that top lane play that Ishtar made. You had the Riptrold. Why are you invading and trying to make this risky play into the enemy jungle when you can just go top lane, activate the Riptrold, distract them to try to stop the Riptrold, then you invade? But no, you skip that step, you go for the invasion, and you just trade 1-for-1 when you could have gotten possibly a tower and a jungle.
Right. It's those high-risk plays that are something that I see these very strong teams trying to avoid. Right? I mean, it's all about maximizing your return in games at this level, especially in game number 1. So it's a little surprising that they did go as hard as they did there. Rift Herald still hasn't been used yet, but likely to see that cracking another tower. And now with the tower lead, the kill lead, a 2,000 gold advantage for the side of Team Ishtar.
Another be noted is Sylas is absolutely massive, and they still don't have Grievous Wounds on the side of Ishtar.
That's a big point. Exactly. That's something that you would really want to be seeing from this Ashe specifically. Just pit stop at an Executioner's Calling. The 800
it's only
gold.
800 gold.
Yeah, it's 800 gold. It's not that big of a deal. Like, yes, it sucks to be a little behind in the build path that you want, but the amount of healing that you're reducing from a Sylas and I believe, does Greatest Wounds work on Echo Ultimate as well?
It does.
Oh, Ethan in trouble. That's a lot of damage from the Echo. Looking to dodge on through. Does have that ultimate to drop some of that damage on. That was a very nice pillar from the Trundle, but the rest of the team not there to really follow through on that. I'm very surprised. I think that Expo could have...
He's just looking.
Certainly landed that. Rutledge is beast, clearing out that pink, and since your support trying to bolster this push in the mid lane as the Dragon now started. Expo fairly low on health on the Echo. Teleport channeling from Tycoon. Looking to go in. Rutledge's Beast pulling the Ornn into the Shadow Realm. Voperdo in major danger as Rutledge's damage comes on through. The push on back is there. Rutledge's Beast eating that face breaker. The stun misses. He's trying to get that damage, but the Ignite is sticking on down there. Tycoon looking for targets. That's one picked up already. But VT Nelson in peril as the Ornn ult screams on through, finding Expo's Echo, but nothing else. 2 kills picked up there off of a questionable engage, and now the Dragon for Team Ishtar.
This is why we were talking about the level of execution, because this was 2 completely different Rutledge's beasts. Like, we see the first fight he joins in, absolutely massive, smurping on the entire enemy team. And then we go into this fight, misses just about every single skill shot. You would have thought it was a whole new person. And this is why level of execution is such an important topic.
Yeah, and I mean, this is another fight where there's some awkward engages, some maybe a little iffy positioning, and it costs Active Rush so much. And I just, what I'm seeing here from Ishtar is a squad that knows exactly what they want and how to get it. Whereas Active Rush, I feel like there are moments of hesitation, questions coming on through there, all forcing the flash out of the Syndra. This could be enough to take the kill. Ethan in peril. Expo with one more hit shepherds the Syndra into the waiting arms of Storm8 with a big shutdown to that misfortune.
This is really a battle of the kid who wants to do the backflip versus the guy who just kind of stands there waiting to punch you in the middle of the backflip. Like, Active Rush, dude, why do these flash
again? Trundle is here. It would arguably be better for them to not go in, but they have timed this ult out. Tycoon does not have the Death Realm available. Forced to flash. One more auto from the Trundle, and the Chomp is enough. Bladed Thesis with the kill, and a great call on that cooldown. I mean, Tycoon 5 seconds away from the ultimate.
But was the flash really worth the kill? Because but no, I actually had to debate it because team fights can be huge.
Yes.
And so it's just 1 kill, right? Only 1 kill.
But
you go to the next team fight. Now you don't have to flash to try to get that big multi-man pillar, that big call out in an actual team fight that might get you to Baron.
But
that's my only debate.
But you also take Tycoon's flash there. I think that's something you need to look at as well. And forcing the Mordekaiser to use his only mobility for the next 5 minutes and still end up dying is huge. I think that's a major thing, and I'm very curious. Like, once Bladed Thesis does get the level 11, the second rank in Subjugate online, as well as completing his second major item, I think that the loss of the Flash is not going to be maybe so hugely impactful, but we'll have to see. Again, circumstances may change.
Something I'll point out right now is that Misfortune is going for what looks like to be... No, actually, it's not going to be the triple BS sword build. It's actually just going to be 2 BS swords with a Zeal item coming up. It's going to be a Phantom Dancer, I bet anything, just so she can maybe survive the Pure Raw versus the enemy
Bladed
team.
Thesis. Oh, barely dodging out of that pop-up. But the Ash ult still lands, still in peril. The Misfortune ult coming on through there. Voperdo getting absolutely obliterated by the Misfortune damage and is forced to flash himself.
Routinely going for that Mordekaiser's ultimate, I do find it quite interesting because it allows him to essentially remove an entire threat on the enemy team, and most of the time, Mordekaiser's targets, he's going to be maybe looking for the Misfortune, but what Rutledge can do is he can take away Ornn, which means he's also taking away the Ornn ultimate, so it's kind of like he's taking away 2 things.
And the Ornn smite, too, in case it contests, as we've seen so far. But that was really a huge save by the side of Active Rush. And despite being down about 2,500 gold, I could hardly say that they're out of this game yet. A big thing we still need to see is when this Expo Echo comes online. He's getting very close to that Lich Bane, which is going to be a massive damage increase there. And if you can be looking to burst out specifically Frostbite on this Ashe, that would be a huge asset to the team. So, again, we're hitting the 25-minute mark of this game. Baron is becoming a major objective to look at here, especially for a team that has an Ashe AD carry who can really look to burn through that.
Ultimate's thankfully safe, so it's still gonna be here for the next team fight. For Dragon. Oh, this is gonna be 4th Dragon. Objective timer.
Roach's Beast pulling Syndra into the Shadow Realm. The stun lands. That's a huge amount of damage onto Ethan, eating that tower shot. Stun lands, coming on through. No ultimate available, but the stun. Rutledge lands the clutch skill shot. Sincere support, pulls the dunk on back, gets a major shield, but will have the movement speed to get on out of that one. Nice CC there. The ultimate lands. Trundle in peril, but Expo is here. This is the play to make. Pulled into the Death Realm. Ults on back away from the Mordekaiser. Looking to get those dancing shoes put
Expo's still
on
alive.
in there. Expo is still alive. Bladed Thesis is very low on this Trundle. Will be forced to recall on out to safety with that sliver of health. Cloud Dragon around. Peridot
Rutledge still has
Tycoon still
teleport.
present. Oh my god! Trundle barely escaping. Teleport coming on through for Rutledge. Frostbite is there. Expo present as well. Tycoon pulling the Misfortune on back. Has the damage, but the Kite on out is in favor of Storm 8, who is able to make it through. Losing health, but not their life.
Said we wanted to give you guys a game and give you a game we shout. Ishtar, the team that plays coordinated, together.
Oh no, Expo
really
making a
well-rounded.
huge mistake is going to get popped up and shot down. The raw disrespect from these base timings is absolutely murdering both teams. Oh,
Ornal is
Voperdo
stolen?
getting the Ornn ult stolen away. Silas is there, 10 seconds. Tygoon has the teleport available. Syndra back on the map. Still 25 seconds till Expo does not have the teleport to get back to the Dragon. I feel like they absolutely have to give up this contest, right? You can't take the 4v5. Not now. It is a absolutely
Tygoon is
losing
teleported in.
concept. Ultimate available from the Ashe. You have to back off. You have to give this up. The
They're
Ornn
contesting.
ultimate coming through. They're trying to contest there. Silas pops the ult. Ethan in trouble. There's the pop-up landing onto the Syndra. Silas forces that flash over the pit. The dunk comes on through. Bladed Thesis could be in trouble. Finally seeing that play on back. Look at those life bars. They're absolutely minuscule. Ethan at shreds. Rutledge's Beast pops the Zhonya's. It's absolutely enormous. Sincere support does get that grip punch off. Echo has almost rejoined the fight. Storm8 is there getting that massive shot on in. But here comes the Echo. And the assist is in. The triple kill from the Misfortune. And a full ace coming through for Active Rush.
I said Active Rush is the kid who likes to do the backflip, but you know what? Sometimes the backflip works.
Oh my goodness, just styling on them in that fight, and they stall it out just long enough for the reset to come through from Expo, who joins at the tail end, but the real star of that fight is Storm 8's Misfortune, going absolutely huge, picking up the triple, and now onto that third item, and real Baron pressure for this squad, who looked down and out just moments ago.
What we really need to see out of Active Rush is they have 2 really solid split pushes on green. They have Echo, they have Silas, and there's nobody that can really match them into the side lanes right now, especially with the level of skill that they're offering. So if Active Rush opens up the script, they're going to put them in the side lanes and just 1v1 these guys to death. And in my opinion, Active Rush is free versus Dare free might even be better, just for the fact that Misfortune can just absolutely shred them to pieces if they even think about going in.
Right, also a major item pickup. Storm8 has opted for the Quicksilver Sash after completing the Phantom Dancer, an extremely clutch pickup against this squad packing so much on-demand CC. Cleanses the Ashe ult, cleanses the Death Realm, cleanses the Syndra stun, all absolutely vital abilities to drop on off in case of a hotly contested fight, which every last one of these battles has been. We are now at the 1 kill per minute mark. These teams coming on through for an extremely exciting series. Set with a Hex Flash. Bladed Thesis finding him
trapped?
in the pit. Maybe stopped here, but the rest of the team has joined. Tygoon coming up from the bottom lane.
Active Rush is beginning to 1v1. Echo's in the top lane, Silas is in the bot lane. Does Silas actually take this 1v1 right here?
Ooh, has the Mordekaiser pulling him to the Death Realm, has the Zhonya's Hourglass available. Rutledge's Beast doing an absolutely enormous amount of damage. Popping the Zhonya's, is waiting for those cooldowns to come on through, but look at that damage! Rutledge's Beast takes the 1v1! Man, what a tipping point in the top lane that is Phantom. Rutledge now capable of 1 versus 1 wins against the Mordekaiser. This is an absolute breaking point for this split.
This is the last thing you want to come out of Ishtar. You have 2 side lane pushers, and then your big split pusher can't actually fight back.
Rutledge heading back to base. Expo trying to ward off the attempt to get into the pit. Rutledge is still a few
4v4.
seconds off. 4 versus 4. Voperdo may be caught on out. Expo goes on through a big dunk onto the back line as that's Ethan from the flank, coming on through VT Nelson at a sliver, but Rutledge has rejoined, finds a stun on Ash, that's the huge target, but can't quite find the ult to take the kill, the misfortune ult, not enough, but a huge crit, lands over the wall, the slow's coming on through, and Frostbite at a sliver of health, trying to escape here as Expo and Storm 8 look to run on through as fast as they can, but Tygoon has rejoined the battle after coming on back from that death timer, and a 3 for 2. These battles are a back and forth slugfest.
Huge misplay out of Rutledge and Expo right there. This is where, once again, level of execution. If they play perfectly, these team fights look like smurfing, but if they make the minor mistakes, just from the fact that Syndra can control so much space, the fact that Aish can just kite for days, it can just be a challenge to get in. It's just insane what we're watching here. I'm almost speechless.
Absolutely, and a lot of that comes down to some very smart flanking from Ethan, who came into the right side of that fight, and Rutledge, who just didn't have enough gas left in the tank, was waiting on that Zhonya's cooldown for just a little bit too long in that fight, got a great stun on a Frostbite, but simply could not convert the kill afterwards. Being said, though, Dragon coming up in just a few more moments. This is a major soul to take with a team with so many powerful ultimates. Yeah, triple ult CDR on the Syndra, and on a team that really does want that mobility after ult usage.
Syndra will actually have 60% CDR if she gets this Dragon on her ultimate. What cooldown? She's playing on Earth mode now.
Oh, Bladed Thesis. Forced back on this Trundle. Dragon is now spawning into the pit. Both squads have assembled. Nautilus, a little out of position here. Bladed Thesis trying to lead the charge on this Trundle. Rutledge does have the flash, does have the hourglass. Protobelt, a potential tool indeed. Ashel comes on through, will land onto Nelson, who is dunked straight into the backline. They find the Ornal onto 1. VT Nelson already casualty, but supports traded back and forth. This battle is massive. Tycoon looking to kite out Storm8, but that damage onto the Misfortune, not quite enough to take the kill. Vopero in the front line will be able to secure the Dragon and the Soul, but what's the cost as the Ash falls? Vopero and Ethan still here. Bladed Thesis rejoining the fight. Vopero in danger. The healing from Rutledge is absolutely enormous. Forces the flash on back, clap from the Ornn there. Healing is still huge. Storm8 as well as Bladed Thesis still on deck. A 3 versus 2 so far, but the health bar is so very, very low. They must be forced to retreat, and the Dragon Soul does belong to Team Ishtar.
This was another big reason why you had to really be afraid of the late game on the side of Active Rush, because there is triple anti-healing on the enemy team, and we did not see the same Sylas from the early game as we saw now. In the early game, we saw Sylas borderline full healing off a single W. In this team fight, his healing was still heavily reduced. There was times I was hardly even noticing it. Rutledge has to be far more careful in these team fights. He can't just go 1v5 ham as he was in the early game.
But we need to talk about cooldowns because some of these are absolutely vital. Baron a huge objective right now, and both AD carries sans flash. Absolutely a huge loss here for both of them in terms of mobility. If Frostbite gets engaged on, Rutledge finds the damage. That's certainly a dead Ash, and the same is true for Storm.
They need Echo in the side lane. They cannot contest 5v5 fights. If you're doing 5v5 fights, you're turning it into a game of luck of do we win the coin.
It's a roll the dice,
yeah, you're really rolling the dice here. And it's just, you don't want to roll the dice when you can just do the 1v1s and just, like you saw what Rutledge do with Mordekaiser earlier. He can handle it. Let him do it. These team fights, they're just so scary. No reason to take these risks right now.
Right, and we do see that Lichbane coming through for the Sylas. It's a 4v4 setup. Both top laners have the teleport. A solo kill here could be massive. Playing the Baron dance, absolutely vital for both of these teams. Rutledge in the side lane is a beast indeed. Bladed Thesis Be forced down back in
They're
the
starting to
trundle
fight.
here. There's the pop-up coming on through fight. Started teleport channel. So Duncan in the backline. Sincere support will not be living much longer. But the re-engage comes on through there. Bladed Thesis pulled in by the Mordekaiser. And Rutledge's Beast now in a killing spree. VT Nelson looking, does drop that. Banshees on Ethan. Looking for the escape still. Bladed Thesis found out by Tygoon. Pulled back and will be dropped. 2-4-1 so far. Health bars still very low. Stormmate on this misfortune. Extremely healthy despite that. Rutledge's Beast, no flash, teleport used, will be forced to go back to base to heal before he can take any other fight.
How was the fight Active Rush actually wanted? Set wasted his ult onto Expo right there. One of the big reasons why they've been having a hard time in these fights is Set has been almost religiously ulting Nautilus and almost taking him out of the fight near instantly. Such a huge cooldown gone, and it just wasn't taken advantage of.
Right, and the thing is, the set gets an absolutely outrageous move speed boost after that ultimate comes through, and it was enough to propel him out to safety. One more hit would have been more than enough to take that kill, but they simply couldn't lock him down.
And once again, we're seeing Rutledge going into these fights, and he's no longer going 0 to 100 with that W now. This Reba's Wounds here is having a huge effect on these fights.
It certainly is. Now, it's worth mentioning Rutledge's Beast does have 10 stacks on that Dark Seal. I'm curious to see if we see that sold once the gold comes on through there for a less swingy item. But we'll have to see there. Resets coming through after that scrumble around the Baron, and if you look at the itemization here, Frostbite coming in huge on this Ashe. 12, 3, and 5, but still in the danger zone. Another minute left until that flash cooldown comes back up. Such a major bit of utility for that AD carry. And when we remarked in the early game, talking about how Expo's performance is generally deciding the fate of a team, his Echo has not really had a major impact this game, and it's been Rutledge's Beast and Stormmate who have been the major contributors to this game so far for Active Rush.
What I'd like to see out of both Expo and Rutledge right now is it would hurt their scaling a little bit, but I think they both should strongly consider a Banshee's Veil, because these are the guys who need to really dive into these fights and cause chaos, and they just need that extra big of protection to survive.
My boy Rutledge opts for the Medjai's Soul Stealer. That's gutsy. Absolutely fearless. Holy moly. So,
Not going to comment on it. Not commenting.
37 minutes on the clock. Both teams fighting to a standstill. Elder Dragon will be spawning here in just over a minute.
Oh, this is huge. Misfortune just got herself a QSS.
Well, she's had that QSS for a very long time. It was the Guardian Angel that's the more recent pickup.
With the QSS and the Guardian Angel, Mordekaiser can't really consider a Misfortune target anymore.
Oh, Rutledge is forced to flash there. It's a major cooldown that Rutledge is not going to have in case of fights coming on up. With this Baron Dance as tight as it is, every single resource matters. Speaking of resources, the Ornn ult taken by Rutledge going to be waiting out his own internal cooldown. In this potential 5v5 fight, I think a wise choice to pop the engage and look for a second ultimate if available in these fights.
Are they collapsing onto Mordekaiser?
Oh, Rutledge sure is looking. Ashe is in the vicinity. They are going to be looking to maybe clean out some of the vision in that jungle. Echo is
Elder
down
Dragon
there
in
as
10
well.
seconds.
Elder Dragon 10 seconds. The members of this team getting vision cleaned out around the dragon, but that's not the objective we see the members of Team Ishtar opting for. They've set up around the dragon. The Ashe ult is going to go wide.
But they have triple Wind Dragon. This team will be back soon.
Oh yeah, look at that cooldown ticking on back up. It is so quick to regen. The Ornn ultimate coming on through for the set. Will miss it. That's absolutely huge, but into the back line. Frostbite already taking a ton of punishment. Rutledge's Beast forced to pop that. Zhonya's Hourglass. Expo looking to find the Ashe, but can't quite lock down the kill. The set pulling into the back line. Stormmate is able to obliterate that 80 carry, but Expo will fall. Voberto maybe next up on the chopping block. Ethan still does have the Banshee's Veil. That's going to be Bladed Thesis as VT Nelson goes into the back line. We will see Rutledge taking that kill. Syndra eats the hook, forced to flash, pulled on back, will go down. Voberto falls as well, and it's only Flash. Frostbite up, still remaining, with Expo the only kill. Elder Dragon almost a certainty for Active Rush.
Rutledge is huge in these fights. 15-4-5, outclassing everybody on Ishtar time and time again.
Oh, Ash eats her own ult, and Rutledge's Beast completes the ace! The Elder Dragon taken, a clean path to the Baron, an active rush now in dominant control of the game!
Just want to give a shout out back to last week. We did interviews to prepare for these games, and Ishtar called out Rutledge, saying that he is the worst top laner, that he's going to get outplayed. And here is Rutledge with his reply, 16-4-5, saying, no, fuck Expo, I'm the carry.
You don't want to make the Silas mad. You wouldn't like him when he's mad. Like, holy moly, dude. A 7,000 gold lead. The double buffs assembled. Things looking so good for this team who played that last fight absolutely brilliantly.
All I want to say here is if Rutledge and Echo mutely bought the stacking item to say who can get 25 stacks first, Rutledge just said, hey, boss.
Look, man. The gamble pays off. 25 Magi Soul Stealer stacks on Rutledge, who is currently sitting on 900 ability power with that Silas.
Now,
He's
if
a
Rutledge
big
wants to
boy.
be really alpha, if he wants to be a true Chad, he will sell this Merc for us for a Spellbinder.
Gotta go fast.
120.
Dude.
120 AP into 200.
Oh my lord. Hit that 1000 AP hot knife Silas damage. Oh, the Baron Empowered push coming on through here. They're going straight for the middle lane.
Are they gonna flat out
There's
dive
so
it?
many structures still remaining on the map here. A dicey prospect
I
at
just
best
say
to
fuck it,
dive.
they're
This
diving.
Mordekaiser pulling in here. The tower already down. Inhib now under threat as well. Ashold stolen. Goes straight on into the Syndra, who is crushed like a grape. Mordekaiser soon to fall. The Elder Dragon does the damage, does the work, takes the ace, and now to take the game. Active Rush up 1-0 in this best of 5 grand finals.
The kid with the belt pulls it off!
Absolutely unbelievable. Active Rush silence their critics. Now out to a 1-0 lead, coming hot off the blocks in this first game of the Black Twitch League's grand finals, and 100% living up to that hype.
Oh, I just want to say, what do you do when you see the enemy top laner do a performance like that on Silas? Do you bet? Do you take the gamble and let him have it again, or do you just flat out get rid of it? I say get rid of it. Do not let that happen
You
again.
can't let a repeat like that happen again. Just a dominant performance from Rutledge. And, I mean, worth mentioning, game number 1 is not the absolute deciding factor in the series, right? But it does a great job of setting the tone. And the tone here is that Team Ishtar is not unstoppable. They are not immortal. Active Rush drawing blood straight out the gate, and in such a fashion to silence anyone who had second guesses about their abilities. With that being said, we will be right back in just a few more minutes with our second game as we get into the lobby, get that set up. You absolutely will not want to miss it here on the Black Twitch League Twitch.tv channel. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. and hot. Game number 1 was a hotly contested knockdown drag-out slugfest between these two teams, but it was Active Rush, the underdogs in this series, who have come out to a now 1-0 lead heading into our second game of the night as we now load into this pro draft. I am Gaspump, joined by Phantom, and let's talk about these picks and bans.
Oh, looks like so far the picks and bans are going to remain exactly the same. Active Rush going with the mindset, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And that's
Silas, though, Ishtar saying, to hell with vampires.
Actually, we do believe that Silas is broken, so we'll be banning him this game. So
no, they're just saying fuck vampires. That's what Ishtar is saying. Any vampire champion with spell vamp, get it the hell out.
I suppose that. I mean, it's really like a sliding scale of vampires. Like Vladimir at one far end of the spectrum, and then like Silas steals life and ultimates, which is like, I guess, kind of in the same ideological realm. Like, I don't know, man. That's a bit of a stretch. But
well,
what isn't a bit
all
of a
I know is he has a fancy jack in his new skin.
Now, what isn't a stretch is the set ban. I really like this adaptation from Active Rush. The bot lane was absolutely miserable for Storm8 and VT Nelson that last game, mostly in part due to sincere support going in hard with that set, and once again, to nobody's surprise, in the entire world, it's an Ornn first pick.
Riot will one day nerf me. Riot will one day nerf me. Riot will one day nerf me.
Oh,
Most picked champion for past 10 patches. Most picked champion for past 10 patches.
Is each snore that you do accompanied by a resident sleeper emote?
No, it's representing how many patches will take for Riot to maybe nerf Ornn.
Well, speaking of it ain't broke, don't fix it, Trundle is the counter pick coming on through here, and while Blatant Thesis didn't have what I would consider to be a pop-off game, certainly a role player in the last match. Like, those Trundle ultimates really opened people up. Like, Storm8 was doing disgusting damage to that Misfortune, but now...
Lesson learned, Expo saying, not giving you Cinder again. Hell with that.
Oh, hey, it's a trade. Misfortune coming on through here, exchanged gladly for the Syndra.
Pokemon cards.
Oh my gosh. The real question is who's going to end up with the shiny Charizard here is the real question. So I'm curious. Misfortune was certainly a factor in the last game, but I didn't feel like it was the reason why Active Rush specifically run. There was maybe one or two decent Misfortune ults in that last game, but nothing that really screamed, this is a power pick to me. Flip side, the Syndra did a ton of work, and we'll see Ethan try to equalize that with the Taliyah pick.
Ooh,
and
Active Rush going in with the Braum's signature counter to Ornn. Get that wall up. Ornn ult completely negated. Now, so far, it might be looking Active Rush just came out with a shiny Charizard with that triple onto the Ishtar's triple.
Oh, I love Braum as a support so much in this meta game, and it is a perfect, absolutely perfect choice against the draft from Team Ishtar so far. What a silver bullet coming through.
Set, Leona, Morgana, gone. All of Braum's most hated things.
I don't know what it is about Active Rush, but every time I see them draft, I always feel like there's some kind of intuitive understanding of where they want to get to in the draft, and somehow they manage to get there. I love the drafting from this team. Team Ishtar doesn't have bad drafting in the slightest as well, but I always feel like if you were to ask me straight away who's the best red side drafter in BTL, I'd have to give it to Active Rush.
It's because we had Active Rush just last week, and their team captain said that he actually does put practice into doing drafts. He practices against people. He does a little bit of research on what makes a good draft, and you really see it come through time and time again.
Right. I mean, if you remember the classic LCS scene, this was the major advantage that really stuck out for Cloud9 back in Season 3. You had Lemon with his Death Note doing drafts for the team, and it always seemed like the squad would come out ahead on draft. It was just them being ahead of the curve. But an interesting choice here, the Jinx AD carry lock-in against this team comp, J4 the jungle option, and Fiora now hovered, potentially going to
still has
Tygoon.
the counter pick.
Right, exactly. The Fiora will be locked for Tygoon, but the counter pick for Rutledge, what's the option?
This guy's this oyster right now. All right, come on, come on. Open up the party box. Show it to me. Show it to me.
It's the Super Smash Brothers party ball. What's inside?
He's really just putting us down to the last second.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh.
I love it!
Oh my goodness.
Can you get any more Chad? That is a disgusting matchup for the Fiora. If she dies even once, she does not get to play the game
Oh my
at
goodness. Now, it's really interesting because it feels like to me Darius is the ultimate win lane, lose game champion. But every once in a while, there is a specific set of matchups where I think this champion can shine. Into Fiora with a composition like this is certainly
Against
one
Ornn
of
and
them.
Tank Jarvan.
Right. There is not. I feel like there's just not enough kite potential from this team to reliably shut down the Darius in team fights, right? And if
And then here's the thing, he doesn't even have to join team fights. He can just split push forever.
Yeah.
He really never has to join.
right, I mean,
There's nothing forces him to join on Ishtar.
it's also worth mentioning that because of Darius's 1v1 potency, it's going to basically require a miracle if this Fiora gets behind for her to actively 1v1 him. And you made this point yourself, Phantom. If Fiora gets even a single death on board, she's out of this game.
Darius is a champion where he's possible to beat, but the most minor and minuscule mistakes will equal your death. And something I will say, this has been the best year ever for Darius in League of Legends history outside of the Juggernaut rework.
Well, outside
Just
of,
in last year's
I would say you need to look at Season 2 and then the Juggernaut rework as well when he initially came out.
Okay, you're right. Season 2 was nasty, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because just in last year's scouting grounds, one of the top winners that showed up did actually use Darius. Darius is draftable. Darius is actually competitive now, and even though not many people do it, it can be done when you use him as an effective red side counter.
Yes, you really do need. He's one of a handful of champions in the game that is so heavily dependent on matchup that you simply can't bring him out unless he is in that last big situation. But if you get that matchup into the right team composition and right laner, you can absolutely go off with that champion. I think that may be something that we see here in this particular match. I think the thing that I'm most curious about is what kind of Darius are we going to see? I mean, the very likely choice is that we see Conqueror. It's an extremely strong Keystone rune. But there are other choices you can take with Darius that are just absolutely delectable Gouda, depending on how you want to play this lane, right?
More curious, are we going to see the Chad Flash Ghost?
I've seen Flash Ghost Glacial Darius that just demands answers at level 1. Which is hilarious. But
Also,
probably
another
not what
note
we're going to be seeing.
is Active Rush actually did make sure to pick a little bit more scaling this time because I guess last game they're like, you know what, these fights, we don't really have reliable scaler. We're heavily reliant on outplaying them. Let's make sure we actually have a late game security plan with the Jinx.
Right. I like the Jinx. The lack of mobility against J4 and Ornn is a little concerning. But aside from, like, they do have ways of keeping those members off the back line if they can get away from that.
Braum
That's
Ultimate.
huge. Braum Ultimate's a big deal. But I think that the more pressing thing is that, like, this is a composition that can absolutely win in a 4-1 situation. It's filthy. Like, how does the 4-1 setup deal with this composition? Because you've got to have one of your damage threats in the side lane to deal with the Darius, and if you don't, I mean, this is a 3-threat composition against your 2-threat, right? So I'm very curious to see how Active Rush looks to play this, especially if they can find themselves with a map advantage.
Well, let's check right now. Is this Orange? So it's gonna be Jarvan jungle Ornn support, yes?
Yeah. That's correct.
All right. So as Team Ishtar, you have two options right now. Darius is a little bit of a feast or famine champion. If he loses in the early game, he has to do a little bit of farming before he can scale back up.
Right.
So on the side of Ishtar, option A, get Jarvan to camp top lane and get this Darius behind. And Fiora is no slouch herself in the late game. She's no slouch herself when she starts to get a lead. Option B, tell Fiora, sorry man, we really fucked up in drafts here. And just make this Jinx, this immobile Jinx live in living hell, get those bot lane towers, put heavy bot lane priority. And then once you do that, just group up as 5 and battering ram through mid, not caring about Darius' split push. Because with the Fiora, with the Misfortune, with the Talia, you will be able to take down these towers quite fast in a 5-on-1 tower situation. So, either option A, get Fiora fed to handle the Darius, or B, just sacrifice it, give up, and ARAM it. Which is actually a possible strategy when you're facing these split pushers. Because a lot of split pushers, they're not the most useful people when they group up. So, we'll see what happens in coming into the game.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Phantom, because I feel like, again, this is a game where Storm8 and VT Nelson once again need to absorb pressure bottom lane so the top side of the map can find advantages. And I think that something that is going to be heavily dependent on this game's outcome is going to be heavily dependent on how well this Jinx and Braum can handle the Misfortune, Ornn, and potentially J4 pressure down bottom, because neither Jinx nor Misfortune are very good champions at really handling that level of pressure with a lack of mobility, but Braum is a significantly better defensive support than Ornn, in my opinion, and I'm curious to see what kind of decisions are made, what kind of lane pressure is going to be seeded, and how this top side of the map for Active Rush is able to respond, and how Team Ishtar can maybe look to push their advantages elsewhere in the map. So,
how you doing, baby?
I'm doing pretty good, Phantom. That was an extremely exciting game number 1, and really just what I was looking for from a matchup between two teams like this, right? I mean, we had talked about this previously, that you were several weeks ago when we first cast together, very excited to do the Active Rush game because, it was their second match. It was their match in the round robin versus Ishtar, and they were unfortunately not able to field their full roster, and Ishtar rolled them over, understandably because of that, but Exodia has been assembled in this grand finals. Active Rush has
team members are here.
All 5 team members are here, and Team Ishtar, for I think the first time ever, this is the first time I have ever seen them lose a game. And
it is their first time ever losing a game. The team is bleeding.
It did not feel like a fluke, right? Like, sometimes you get a game where it's like, well, we saw Active Rush pick up 10 kills in the first 8 minutes of the game and then just snowballed out of control from there. And it was maybe not as clean a victory as it could have been considering this. But no, this is a team that had setbacks, bounced back from those setbacks, made the plays they needed to, and eked out a well-deserved win. That makes me say, well, how is Team Ishtar? I mean, Team Ishtar are a very good squad. Hopefully they have the mental to recover from a loss like that. But Active Rush, this is, more questions for Ishtar to answer. With that being said, we are reaching the end of Spectator Delay. We'll be right back in just a few more minutes with our second game of the night. You won't want to miss it here on the Black Twitch League Twitch.tv channel. evening and welcome back, everyone. We're here for our second game of the night between Team Ishtar and Active Rush. Both teams heading on off the fountain for this match. Game number 1, a pretty big win here for Active Rush, but Ishtar looking to bounce back, tie things up, but it's to a 1-1, and move forward tied into the series. 5-point line of scrimmage from both of these teams, looking to play on the defensive now this game.
It's really interesting. We have proven that gods can bleed. Ishtar losing their first game of the entire series. No one has taken a point off them yet.
Yeah.
That is to be heavily noted. Was not a fluke. And it's a huge playstyle difference where we see Ishtar having that very consistent, very safe 5-man squad assemble playstyle. And then you have Active Rush, who is the complete opposite, where it's, I'm going to do a motherfucking backflip.
So,
and you know what?
Cheeky,
it works for Active Rush. It really does.
Real cheeky stuff up here. Rutledge's Beast already in that bush, waiting for Fiora to come into his waiting arms. Both teams, again, opting for this mirrored bot side start. Likely to see some more action around in the top lane. Fiora will get spotted out on that. They'll get some vision up there in the jungle. Darius does see that coming, and squads
Does he
will
wait it out?
head on back. I think he's going to, yeah.
Oh, no.
Ooh, lots of trading in the mid lane early, though, as Darius does
It
find
started.
that Fiora forced on back there, and Darius definitely does take the better part of that trade.
And you can just keep on zoning. She is going the risky way.
Goodness gracious. That cripple does an enormous amount of damage, and being able to get a reduced cooldown on kill there is a nice farming tool for the Darius, as well as another thing that Tycoon has to worry about in this top lane.
Talia mid versus Syndra. This can be a pretty interesting matchup where for the first few seconds, Talia can get some pretty cheeky leads with the Q, but where...
A bit of a mistake there from Rutledge as far as the attack selection is going, and man, look at Expo's damage onto Aethan's Talia there.
But what I was gonna say is, it can turn for Talia really quickly because once she starts gaining all her ward ground, Syndra can now make the edge at level 2, and make the edge level 2
J4
she did.
is here, no Q available. Big mistake coming on through here. Flag and Drag is there and will land the first blood. That was a huge error from Rutledge.
That was a beyond huge error. Set it right before Drought even started. You have two options. Sacrifice top and let them eat together, or just say, get Fiora ahead, because Fiora is no slouch of a lead either.
Yeah, I think the big mistake there is taking the Apprehend at level 2. Like, yes, it lets you pull the Fiora in, but you know that J4 is going to be up there, right? Like, you don't have the vision tracking him. You just need to expect that he's going to be present for that. Ooh, Trundle finding this J4, landing the pillar. One more auto attack would be enough. The stun lands, and Expo takes the kill. Ethan now
Could
in
be
danger
one.
as well. Could be a second, and Bladed Thesis with the jump to take the kill. Oh, in the bottom lane as well, Sincere support forced the flash from the CC Hailfire of VT Nelson and Storm 8.
I think Darius gets to freeze top lane.
Wow, that's huge. He did have to he was forced to teleport for that, which is not ideal, and Tygoon will match.
But it made teleport. Darius's teleport will come back first. That is not to be taken lightly.
Right, not an enormous difference, but one that can be taken advantage of nonetheless. Goodness gracious, what
And
a
the wave
huge...
is still pushing to Darius. You can look for the mini waves right now. And now here comes Rubbish coming in for the gank. Oh, it's going to be warded out. So, Tycoon just going to play it out safe.
No reason not to, right? Like, if the Darius is freezing, it's actually so much better for him to just slow roll this, especially when the Fiora opted for the pickaxe as that first item. Trundle going deep into the jungle, looking to clear some of this camps out, but J4 in the bottom lane looking to potentially make a play happen. Talia here as well, though not level 6 for the wall availability. Storm and VT Nelson
Calling it off.
gonna need to be real safe here. They are calling it off as Trundle does get that priority, continuing in the top lane, and looks like the freeze will finally be broken for the Darius. Being said, though, after the freeze, like, the Darius really still even in CS, which is good to see for Rutledge, not falling too far behind from, I would describe as an extremely questionable level 1 play. Also, the EXP advantage top lane, as well as the constant presence of Bladed Thesis, going to be making it very easy for him to continue with the dominance top.
I want to criticize coming out of Ishtar is a really textbook play you can do to really cripple Darius is if you can get that first blood kill, get him to use his flash on his teleport, just wait in that bush. Darius is going to be looking for his revenge and just do that secondary gank. Sure, you're going to lose a little bit of farm out of it, but just imagine if he actually went for that gank, that disastrous 2v2 that happened in top river actually never happens.
Exactly. Also, Darius opting not to go back to base despite sitting on a not insignificant amount of money, probably waiting for the Phage first item, I would suspect. But it's going to be tough to match this Fiora, especially at the level 6 difference. Expo here getting quite a lot of damage onto Ethan there on the Taliyah, who is...
He's been strapped. He has to go the long way back. Not punished. So one thing that mid laners can really do is when you force them to go into that Raptor quadrant, is you just have to keep camping that wall there. So
Level
whenever they
6 for
try to go
level
back to
6.
lane, just keep on poking them.
Yeah, and I mean that's something that you really look for from the most experienced mid laners is punishment for the questionable decisions of another player, but not going to come through here right now, and things have evened up. 500 gold lead actually exclusively from CS leads for the side of Active Rush, and despite that, really tough mistake there from Rutledge, have bounced back nicely.
5 seconds. 3, 4,
Oh my God.
5.
Look at that damage. Religious Beast trying to get that healing on off there, but look at that damage. The healing may be enough. It is! Tycoon ends up taking the kill, and that is why you cannot contest with that item difference.
Preemptive ult if he just waited for that last stack, but he wasn't patient. He couldn't wait, even though he technically could have. Rutledge is just being punished over and over for his lack of patience. Yes, you did the fancy stuff in game 1, but you have to cool it a little bit.
Right, and putting the Fiora up like that makes it so much more difficult for this Darius to go off. Being said, a smart choice there. Oh God, Expo's damage on the Syndra, huge. Voperdo going to be picking up that trade kill in exchange. And it's good Taliyah does manage to get a finger on that assist. It's going to be a good choice. Also, this is Muramana Fiora. Oh, that's tricky. This is a build that we've seen lots of single target damage. Paterno coming on down here. Sincere Support does not have the flash quite available yet. Ornn almost certainly going to be going down here, and this one will fall, looking for the CC onto Frostbite. Voperdo here as well on the J4, and a nice gank leading to a solid kill to punish the burned flash from Sincere Support's Ornn.
600 gold lead in the favor of Active Rush here, and one big thing. Even though Darius is behind, this is a counter matchup that is in the favor of Darius. So even though he's a little bit behind, he's not exactly behind enough for his actual damage to no longer matter to Fiora.
Right. Also, the Thornmail, a pretty good choice against the Fiora there. Be looking for the steal, coming on through into the pit, looks for the smite. Gonna be seeing the nice Misfortune ultimate, able to take that kill. Big mistake there, but this will be a kill. Going on over. Jinxo goes slightly wide. It's a 1-4-1, looking for this play top lane. The dunk comes on through, but Tycoon sniffs it on out, looking to make the play, get the healing, and Tycoon ticks down to 0. Rutledge with the outplay, and Storm8 now in peril. The Ignite ticking down as well. Syndra simply not in position to assist. A mistake from Expo not roaming down.
BTL, are you here? Did you want a game of action? Did you want a game that was bloody? Did you want a game where we're averaging more than 1 kill per minute? Here it is.
Wow, and again, for all the fancy footwork of Tygoon's Fiora, the stat check of the Darius is still effective. Picking up the kill, picking up 2 whole tower plates. This is a lead now exacerbated, and if you look at the current situation, ooh, that's Expo taking a ton of damage from that tower and the push on back there. For the plate, we'll find that, but eats the tower shot as well and will be forced to head back to base.
One thing that we've yet to see here out of even honest Taliyah is we have not seen that big Taliyah, big grand roam. But I suspect we will see it soon at this rate because she does have health advantage, she does have mana advantage, she just got the blue buff. we have Jinx with no flash on the bot lane.
Misfortune
4-man
either.
bot lane coming up.
Certainly.
Fiora's about to get her teleport.
Certainly could be the case here. Be a very apt way to punish, the Braum does still have that ultimate available. Would be able to potentially ward off a play. It all comes down to the coordination between these members of Team Ishtar. Looks like, for now at least, Storm8 and VT Nelson are safe. Inside track, though, top lane, Fiora and Voperdo on that Rift Herald. Maybe seeing the collapse come through from the Trundle and the Darius, but just a moment too late
Braum
for that one.
goes in.
Looking for this play. Bottom lane, Braum has the ultimate. They'll find on the Sincere support, who gets absolutely annihilated. Just completely crushed as Frostbite eats the stun from the Braum, and a big double to Storm8.
Ishtar is bleeding. Drafting difference. Laner difference.
Oh, that's a huge stun onto Ethan, who has the flash, will be forced over the wall. Trundle will immediately back off. I think a flash follow-up chomp, if available, would have been enough to make that difference. Goodness gracious, Voperdo taking so much damage
keeps
here.
going in.
Trundle is just crushing there. 2-0-2. Completed jungle item, and both Ethan and Voperdo forced to take the walk of shame back under their tower.
Biggest thing to know here is that Ishtar drafted heavily towards a melee, very tanky team. And Active Rush
Right.
is the team with all the tank killers. Jinx will come online with his full crit build with the Lord Dominix. Trundle will negate all their armor. And then Darius, he's just going to do Darius things.
Yes, and has already come online with that. The healing reduction for Tycoon there is certainly not ideal for the Fiora, who's desperately trying to stack up that Manamune into the Muramana, get that transform, get that damage, and I mean, Rutledge is beast. Really, I think a turning point of this game was the freeze that he was able to conduct to keep his CS there, even with the Fioras, and propel him back into this game. Tycoon does have those summoners, does have the the flash and the ult available, so unlikely that Bladed Thesis can really make anything.
Be a tower dive in a top lane?
Yeah, there was an attempt to get the pull on in there, but Tycoon taking quite a lot of punishment, and hopping on back in there. Oof. It's the cripple there, and really, I think content
Bleeding's
to just
adding up.
I think you're just content to force Tygoon back under his tower, recall the base, and blow the teleport. That's more than a reward for the kind of aggression that you're displaying.
So, it's been quite some time since I had the luxury to watch Fiora versus Darius, but just from the evidence we see here, Fiora has a 2-1
stun
lead and it's
lands.
still not enough.
Ethan very much in trouble. Tycoon coming on back from the play. Has the armor boots here.
He missed
Apprehend will miss, but that's a huge play. Does end up stuffing the ult. Gets that heal, forcing the flash. Both top laners going to be popping those cooldowns to escape. Oh, a big stun lands onto Voperdo, who will miss the flag.
He doesn't get a kill.
Absolutely deadly, but here comes the Trundle. One more auto. The chomp is there. Ethan now in peril as Trundle looks for another, but can't quite get the speed to track down the Taliyah.
Oh, that is so tragic. Talia really wanted to use her ult there to try to finish off the kill of Syndra. That is a long cooldown. I believe it's 2 minutes. You really wanted to use that Talia ult to punish this Flashless Jinx, who is getting really ahead. 150 gold bounty here. That is a tool gone away from Ishtar.
Right, and Storm8's flash about to come back up. Voperdo is coming on down soon, but may not make it in time to actually contest this dragon. Bladed Thesis has the smite, will easily be able to take that. A nice combination of the auto plus instant
2
cast
dragons
smite.
to soul.
2 dragons. The second one, an ocean dragon, which will very much benefit this squad that is looking to sustain up through the lane phase, and importantly, a mountain dragon soul for a team that is looking to maybe not build a super hefty amount of defensive stats, but that shield, that bonus armor and MR will come through big.
It really makes Fiora's life that much harder. Like, if you're on Fiora, that is probably the last dragon that you really want to
Rutledge,
see.
look at that damage onto Tygoon, ticking down to half health in one exchange.
That's how rough this is going to get once he gets his Triforce.
Ooh, J4 is up here, has popped the Rift Herald, will be seeing the Trundle move into assist, level 8 to 8 between the junglers, but a significant item lead for Bladed Thesis and his Trundle. Herald is coming up here, but charge probably not going to be interrupted, but the tower will not fall off that I think Darius So should certainly be able to take that and almost a kill. Onto Ethan had the Ignite landed from Expo. That is certainly a takedown.
Parlay doesn't even get to tower plating. Something I really want to see coming into Game 3, Game
that
4.
was close.
So I want to see these teams actually using Ritual to get these turret plating. They're using it so late.
Ooh, the Blue Buff Steel coming on through Voperdo, trying to make things work, but great donation over to the Syndra. Darius already in that quadrant of the jungle, forcing Voperdo and Ethan back. This is an absolute stranglehold being enacted by the members of Active Rush.
People were saying I was a rapping Active Rush. People were saying that they're no match for Mental. People were saying they're going to be no match for Ishtar. But lo and behold, they have all 5 members here. And it is looking scary.
Exactly. This is such a different game than the first match. Yes, there was some scrappy fights in the early game here, but Active Rush has really turned it up. Rutledge has dialed back his more mindless aggression and some more calculated plays there. And we're seeing the control broken over the middle part of the map. These champions are starting to come online. Storm8 3-1-1 in this Jinx is a scary place to be if you're Frostbite and Sincere Support. And Expo on this Syndra is still nearly 50 CS up on this Taliyah.
I've said this time and time again when it comes to drafts. Don't ban out Expo, but what you don't do, what you absolutely don't do, is allow him to have Syndra.
Yeah, this has been kind of a clinic on how to play this champion in the mid lane, and Expo is the instructor. Now level 12 completed, the Garden Hose already, and Voperdo in danger on the J4, looking for that stun. Will find it. Bladed Thesis forcing the flash out of Voperdo. They won't get the kill, but another summoner taxed for free.
This Taliyah isn't doing the work it needs to do. The flash was Jinx. Now it has your flash.
Oh,
So
hey,
even
it's
if you ult the bot lane,
onto Ethan. Oh, there's the pull on back there, but I mean,
doesn't
just,
have the mana for E.
right, just look at the attrition coming through from all of these winning lanes. Voperdo in danger. There's the ultimate from the Trundle. A little over-aggressive maybe there. Voperdo does not have the flash, does have the Cataclysm. The Subject Gate is down, at least for the time being. Tycoon could certainly try to contest this, but it looks like both the jungler and top
Might be
laner
setting up an
will
ult.
back off and instead
Oh,
just
they're
hand it
getting
over.
dangerously close. If Misfortune just sets up even slightly.
Oh, that's a lot of damage under Frostbite. Holy moly, that crit was
Oh.
fat.
Jinx, go back to base and ult now.
I actually don't hate that play. You forced the
I
flash
love
out.
that play.
I mean, you forced the flash out of the Misfortune. You just it's not about getting
He's
the
stranded.
kill. He
Oh, he's stranded.
Oh,
Cinder's
goodness.
coming down?
He's gonna have to try to leave. I think he does have the inside track, I do think that, you know, going for the tower and getting more gold into this Jinx's pocket is the way to do it. And
Do you need
Storm8,
power swap here after Dragon? That's a big question.
I mean, it seems like the right thing to do, certainly.
So, it's looking rush for Ishtar. They're
I
going to
think-
get outscaled. They lost the early game when that was the time frame they wanted to win. Taliyah was unable, unfortunately, to get any work done with the ultimate.
Yeah.
But we had to look for things. Is you have the Jarvan ultimate, amazing setup. You have Misfortune ultimate. If you're on the side of Ishtar here, you are looking for picks. You're looking to get the division lead. However, they are behind on tempo, so they're most likely going to forfeit this dragon. But after this dragon, Ishtar, look for
they're
picks.
going
Get
to-
vision. Abuse your blues.
They're going to try and contest this. Drag it out of the pit here. You know, keep it away from the J4's clutches. Does have that flag and drag to get into the fight. There's the Taliyah looking to force this on back. Bladed Thesis popping the Subject Gate. Nice Braum ult coming
They're
on
trapped.
through. Ornn is trapped. That's one going down. This is the play. Voperdo will almost certainly fall. The flash, the hourglass play. Now looking for Frostbite, who is in trouble. The
Cancel!
Misfortune. A huge cancel from the Misfortune. Voperdo still in peril, but Ethan is here. A shutdown for the Taliyah, but it
Ethan's
might
excited.
not be enough. Frostbite gets a kill, but the rockets from the Jinx are going absolutely wild. Tygoon does not have the teleport, but here comes Voperdo back on in. Tygoon has joined. That will be the shutdown. Rutledge's Beast not in position to contest this, and it may still be a dragon take in favor of Ishtar.
Well, one big note here. is that at the time for Fiora top bot lane, she is not collecting the XP. She is not collecting gold. Darius is allowed to get tower. Darius is allowed to get solo EXP. He is gonna get level leads off this. That is not to be taken lightly in a matchup that you're already bleeding out from.
Right, and that was a fight that looked so much in favor of Active Rush, but they were bled every step of the way by Ishtar, and Ethan came in huge there, picking up 2 kills on the Taliyah, really making a mark on that fight, and it felt like some disrespect there from Active Rush. You know, you're looking to get this Dragon Soul, just back off, look for that play, you know, don't force so hard into the rest of this team.
Honestly, not to call it out, but it looked a little bit that after the rush kind of choked. I was watching this Jinx. She had so many chances to get these resets, and the way the way she was clicking, if you were to watch the replay, it was awkward. It did not look comfortable.
Yeah. Well, Frostbite top here on this Misfortune. Lane swap has come through. Mid lane. Ooh. So the call here is to send the AD carry jungle AD carry support duo into the mid lane. Roberto present. Nice shot from the Zap landing onto that jungler. They will clear out the ward. Braum heading top. This is interesting. It is, I would certainly consider it a non-traditional setup for this part of the game in particular. Teleport coming up from Rutledge. Will have it before Tycoon gets his back.
One thing to heavily note here is that Rutledge did elect to go for the Black Cleaver build instead of the Snowball and Triforce. Yeah. And honestly, I don't necessarily disagree with it because you have a full armor Ornn.
Nice pillar from the Trundle. Volperdo in danger. The slow lands, but they opt for the tower instead of forcing on the kills.
A lot more patience coming out of Active Rush this game.
Yes.
They're still going for the fancy outplays, but they're toning it down a notch, and I really enjoy watching that.
Absolutely,
because
the discipline.
When you have a team with as many skilled players as Active Rush, just imagine how terrifying they can be if they can just exercise control.
That's exactly it. It's the controlled, smarter playstyle that is such a huge deal. Fiora has, however, hit that 2-item breakpoint. Darius still doing a lot of damage to this Fiora. Trundle now present. The dunk is through and not even a chance to pop the parry.
The God King has spoken.
Yeah, and if you see this, this is actually a super gnarly push. Trundle and Darius can just absolutely smash this tower. And with nobody coming down into position, exactly. Trundle is going to opt into the jungle, but if he gets some, if he can pop his W on down here, reinforcing wave has arrived as well. This is a tower taken. Just, Trundle, please, take the tower.
They're nervous. They're not abusing their vision. This is why I say time and time again, the biggest flaw with most amateur teams is they do not abuse blue orbs correctly. If Darius had a blue orb right here, or if they were just actually scouting vision at all, this would not be an issue. You can know, okay, bot lane tower is free.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do get some good damage on it for sure, but it's those minor advantages that you could push that sometimes come back to haunt you. We do see the 3-man stack down here in the bottom lane. Tycoon could be in peril. No Fiora ultimate. Braum on the way there. Looks for the parry onto Storm, but not nearly enough as Bladed Thieves is easily able to wrap up that kill. Braum going unbreakable there and taking a couple of tower shots of his own, but the reinforcing wave will be here shortly and likely a setup for another tower take. Tycoon abused, basically off respawn.
This is why you really don't want to be a blue side top laner. Because as a coach myself, I've been looking into the meta like, what top laners
sincere support in trouble or not able to charge on through the created train. Storm finds another one. Volperdo finding Expo, looking to get that CC train on off to Ethan. The damage is through. Expo will go down there. Yeah, gets caught out. Can't quite find the ult on in for the kill. Stormy looking to kite this one on back. Volperdo's damage is huge. A nice heal from the Misfortune. Volperdo tries to find it. The Dragon Strike lands. Gets that CC, the Gargoyle Stone play, but Darius is here. Will find it onto Volperdo. No! A great flag and drag once again. And Misfortune will live as well. The flash coming through clutch for the
you will always remember this as the day that you almost caught Jack Sparrow.
Jarvan does not look very much like a pirate, but I respect the attempt.
Let's make this gonna happen. Let's do
Captain Jarv Sparrow. Dragon spawning here in just a few more seconds, and respawns have come through. Bladed Thesis will be back up in just a moment. A little bit of over-aggression there, as we've seen from Active Rush. Didn't quite have the vision, or didn't quite have the guts to lock down those kills. And J4 going for the Cinderhulk Gargoyle Stoneplate is a tough target to crack for this Jinx, who is going for the full damage build. No armor penetration on deck yet. Sincere support here as well as Volperdo. Stun will land onto the Ornn, who does have that flash, but this is a very dead support coming on through here. Expo will be forced to pop the ultimate. Major Tool not available for the rest of the fight, though. Clean out this vision. Volperdo is here. They don't want to 50-50, and instead will back on off with just the loss of their support. Baron on deck now as Fiora begins to split push top.
He'll be in a 5v4 situation to go for it. This could actually be very beneficiary. They have a late game scale engine. She is turning online. She can do some massive damage. And another big deal here, Active Rush still has all of their ultimates, except the Syndra.
Except the Syndra, which is, I mean, a major ultimate cooldown indeed, but they will be forced to funnel through a choke against the Syndra. Expo is here. Volperdo in the front line. Religious Beast in this Darius looking to claim a victim. A nice pull out of the J4 flag and drag. The CC chain is there. That's 3. That's the reset. 3 going down is just Frostbite and Sincere support there. The Misfortune does have the ultimate, but will not opt to contest as Active Rush now takes the Baron.
Everything is falling apart for Ishtar. You hate to see it when you have the perfect season, but it doesn't matter because by the time you get to finals, it is being taken away from you.
Man, and this, after last game, it looked like both teams had jitters, but the victor there was Active Rush, and they have come into this game with aplomb, and we are seeing yet another strong performance from Storm. Religious Beast, despite making mistakes in the early game, has cleaned up his play on this Darius, has proven to be a major threat, and we need to look at other improvements. VT Nelson having a much better game than last time. Bladed Thesis on this Trundle also going huge, and Expo on the Syndra, a constant threat.
It really is making a really scary situation. How do you actually answer Active Rush? Because it really, maybe the biggest reason why Expo was popping off game after game is because he just wasn't being camped enough. And maybe that's what was making the side laners have a harder time getting these good scores. Because what we're noticing is you pick a lane on Active Rush, and then the other 2 lanes will perform.
Yes. I love seeing that.
Choose your poison.
Exactly. It's one of those no easy way out type situations, but despite this Baron empowered push coming through, it's going to be a tough nut to crack on this base. Darius now has the split push. Arnold coming through, ultimate available from Storm 8.
Rush might have overstated.
Forced to flash. Expo there on the sidelines, looking to go on through. Those Jink rockets absolutely free firing, but Storm 8 caught in the back line. No flash, but he will be able to grind down the no damage Volperdo, but the rest of his team already fallen. Forcing Expo on back. Darius trying to join the fight. Tygoon crushed by the ultimate from Expo. Frostbite and a sliver will not quite land the ultimate. Syndra looking for the stun. That's enough damage with one more auto attack as Religious Beast finds the Ornn, crushes him with the ult. Now looking to run down the last member, but that's the full ace coming through for Syndra. One more to clean it up, and now the inhib soon to follow with 30-second death timers and a Jig still alive. This is likely another win coming through for Active Rush.
Jinx getting resets set to reset. Nothing melts towers faster than the Jinx in this situation. Darius with a W resets. Jarvan will come back up in time. Bare minimum. Active Rush will get at least 2 towers right here.
Yes. I think they have the stuff to win. The damage is huge. They're now onto the Nexus. J4, the desperate attempt, and a huge stun from the Syndra will end the game. Right then and there, another huge victory from Active Rush. This one even more commanding than the last.
They really need to fix top lane right now. You are putting your top laner into a bad matchup game after game after game. And I know it's hard when you're on blue side, but if you keep doing this, Rutledge will be a beast in the top lane. He will shut down your top laner. And then if that's what's going on right here, then bare minimum, you need to get at least 1 winning lane. They're purposely choosing into losing lanes, and it is punishing them so hard.
Oh, absolutely, Phantom, but that game over, we'll be right back for our third and potentially final game of the night as Active Rush pushes to match point and Team Ishtar desperately on the back foot, looking for a win and a way back into this series. We'll be right back in just a few more moments here on the Black Twitch League twitch.tv channel.
Done with the Trundle. Get it out of here. I'm tired of losing all my armor in one button. Get it out of here.
Right, and I'm curious to see what this is going to end up forcing Bladed Thesis on, because we've seen the Trundle in both games, been very effective in both games, but
And
this
he's
is
always been playing. If I recall correctly, every single game Trundle is left under unbanned, he's actually picked it instantly.
yeah, he loves seeing that. Gragas likely to be the jungle pick for Ishtar, and we'll see how Active Rush looks to volley back on that one. Lissandra, a very safe pick, but so far a fairly low damage composition from Ishtar, despite having 3 threats already on deck.
So, if you're Ishtar right here, big carry top laner. You have to counter pick. You're giving it to your top laner right now.
Yep.
So the big question is, if you're Active Rush, what do you put Rutledge on that's a safe blind pick? Because in all honesty, there really isn't much outside of the mage top laners. So does Rutledge actually know how to play the mage top laners? Does he know how to pull off the Rise into Nico? Does he know how to play Cannon here?
I think that may have been an error here. We'll see what that Ashe was supposed to be there. Ashe is supposed to be Olaf. So that's an Olaf in the jungle, and we'll see what the last pick is going to be for Active Rush. Hashtag just pro draft things. Mordekaiser top.
Can be painful.
So this is a team comp from Active Rush that the Fiora picked into the Mordekaiser.
Oh,
okay.
Gotta be honest.
Is it gonna
I'm
be
not
the
a big fan of this matchup for Fiora because it's kind of like the Darius matchup all over again, where if Fiora messes up at all, Mordekaiser will be allowed to just run at her to death with that passive here.
Right.
So this isn't even a true
choice
counter.
Again. Wow, it's a tough one, of course. Yeah, that's I mean, again, Tycoon, a very skilled Fiora, as we saw in the early parts of that game. Really strong, a strong player, good master of that champion, but Mordekaiser, again, one of those characters who can just run over a game if allowed to do what he wants.
Out of the drafts, though, I would say, out of the 3 drafts we saw now at Active Rush, I would say this is probably one of their weaker ones. And that's to be expected. They are on the blue side. They don't have the luxury of counter picks as they used to. But for a blue side draft, this is actually looking pretty nice. Because when you're on blue side draft, if it's perfect drafter against perfect drafter, red side should in theory win every single time. So the fact that you're
Well,
Active
it
Rush,
depends on what you're looking for. It
nice.
depends on whether or not there's a tier 1 first pickable that's available. And I mean, we've seen that historically as something like the Ornn in professional play, but the series meta has developed in a different direction, and I think that the Syndra really is, in this specific series meta, worthy of that first pick.
Oh, yes, she is. Especially in the Enhanced Expo. So, one thing I will mention where I do criticize Active Rush's draft is the fact that he went for an Olaf against lanes that are really good at avoiding help. So, Olaf's only true lane where he can actually gank here is try his best to get Mordekaiser ahead.
I think that that's not a bad option. You also have the potential as this Olaf of causing a ruckus in the jungle, right? Because Gragas is pretty vulnerable to the kind of damage that Olaf is capable of doing. Again, if we do see Bladed Thesis get a good invade off and put the Gragas behind, Gragas is going to be looking to build that Runic Echoes as the jungle item, and putting a damage-based jungler behind kind of gives him the Elise treatment. It can be very difficult to come back into the game under those specific circumstances.
So, this game match point. We very rarely see a Senna here. I actually like it. This is actually a good time to bring out the Senna. You have a lot of protection, a lot of safety. Lissandra, she can easily just jump on Aphelios and press ultimate and burst them down with the Gragas. A lot of playmaking here. But my big curiosity is you didn't really pick a team fighting top laner. So when it comes to the team fights 4v4, Active Rush actually does break even here.
I'm very curious to see how Storm8 navigates these team fights that are even less in his favor with the lockdown elements drafted from Ishtar.
It comes down to, can he actually get the lifesteal gun in time, and can he actually fuse it with the flamethrower? Because one thing that makes Aphelios deceivingly squishy when he's deceivingly tanky, I mean, is if he can get the lifesteal gun with the Hurricane, he can just run at your team, press Q, and full heal back to full health.
Very, very quickly, yes.
And then once he has that QSS against the Lissandra, he probably even gets Cleanse here. he's going to be pretty untouchable, and they're going to rely a lot on Gragas to make things happen.
Well, you're up against a Senna and a Tom Kench. There's no reason for your support to be going Ignite here. Just go the exhaust heal bot lane, and accept that you're going to be trying to dive on each other. But we'll see what the option is here as we cruise on through the remaining parts of the in-client draft.
I'm just excited to see, can Rutledge actually get this early game kill? Because I've watched Fiora versus Mordekaiser quite a lot. And the way it kind of works out is, since Riot nerfed Mordekaiser about a year ago, it was a really interesting nerf that they did as passive, where Mordekaiser is actually not a late game scaling Kayn. A lot of the other late game scaling champions will actually outscale him and beat him in what I call a slap fight. Mordekaiser's big chances of opportunity are in the early and mid game. So, if he can get a lead, he'll be able to just run at this Fiora. But come 35 minutes, Fiora should be able to solo kill him.
Right.
So, Active Rush is on a bit of a timer here.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've drafted an Olaf, a champion who turns back into a pumpkin at 25 minutes. They are on a timer. But I think that they've also wisely made the read that they have a serious amount of momentum coming into this third game, right? We've taken the past 2 games, 2-0. It's a best of 5. Worst case scenario, you drop this game, which sucks, but then you should, I believe, get side selection for game number 4, where you can just go straight back to red side if you need to. And if you do have your momentum, you can carry through, take a 25-minute win here, and just be 3-0 and end the series.
Yeah. Wise gamble, and it's a gamble they can afford to take. They literally just need to win one more game, and when you have free chances to just close it out, there is a good chance you actually get it. But something that should be noted time and time again, watch any competition involving gamers. The moment somebody gets an emotional lead, they snowball it hard.
Yes, and I think that the real litmus test for how this game is going to go is there going to be an early game lead for the side of Active Rush? If Active Rush can generate any kind of not even necessarily goal, but like any kind of numerical advantage, it's going to be a very tough hill for Team Ishtar to overcome mentally. And as you said it yourself, I mean, you have to factor in tilt in the 2-0 here. Team Ishtar, widely regarded as the team expected to win. Well, yeah, they were expected to be taking wins here, and I think that there were probably a number of people in the Black Twitch League who expected a clean 3-0
for
Team
Look
Ishtar.
At the poll, it was 70% in favor of Ishtar.
Right, exactly.
I was one of the 30%. I'm a believer.
But yeah, like, things clearly have not worked out that way. And I think that maybe the next thing to consider is the mental toll that it takes going into this series is the expected winner. And being down in the situation it's a position we've seen many extremely talented pro teams been in and not able to overcome.
Honestly, consistently, it's almost the same pro teams that do overcome it. It's Cloud9 has historically come out with reverse sweeps. TSM has sometimes done it themselves. I believe I've seen Liquid do it. So Returnally, it's actually the same organizations that do these reverse sweeps, and it's because it takes a special type of training and mindset to actually do it.
Exactly, to put those previous losses out of your mind, to focus up, to look at each game as a new opportunity to take the win, and yeah, we'll see if Team Ishtar has that in the tank coming into this third match. Active Rush does have an explosive early game composition, and I think that, again, if we do see these early game leads, it could be very likely that Active Rush is capable of just running away with the game itself. But as we tick down to the final moments of spectator delay, we will be right back. You won't want to miss this third and potentially final game of the Black Twitch League Finals. We'll see you all in just a few more minutes. evening, welcome back, everyone. We are here for our third and potentially final game of the night between Active Rush and Team Ishtar. Active Rush with 2 very strong wins so far, looking to pick up a third, close off the series, and Ishtar, of course, looking to battle back and find an advantage here. Looking for Tygoon on this Fiora. Axe goes just wide. And, man, very lucky for Tygoon. Situation getting out of there nicely, and they may be wisely opting to be in the bottom part of the bush.
Invade, get the wards. No, Ishtar.
Oh.
Second time in a row. Come on.
Well, if Ishtar isn't tilted, my color caster sure is.
Oh, I'm beyond tilted. Like if I was coaching Ishtar right now, the paddle would be out. Like, this is every coach's worst nightmare. I'm pretty sure none of these teams have coaches. You just have, like, team captains. And this isn't me dissing, it's just insider info. Because most teams here they just like to do it themselves. They like to be independent. I respect that.
Yeah.
But, oof. Tilted.
Going to be seeing that mirrored bot side start again for the 3rd time in this series between both of these teams. Red buff versus blue buff here. Olaf with that very, very speedy clear, courtesy of his... extremely strong.
Does he do the 1-2 free or does he do the full clear? Okay, it looks like he's gonna do the 1-2 free. So his first gang is most likely gonna be top lane the moment he's level 3.
Man, once again, Expo just understanding how to trade on that Syndra at level 1, and Ethan coming out so much the worse for wear on it.
It's because Syndra has a shorter cooldown on Q, so she is actually allowed to take these auto fights because there's not much that Lissandra can actually do to fight back because her Q cooldown is still very long.
Mordekaiser proccing the Conquer and getting a lot of damage done to the Tycoon, who has opted for the Doran's Blade versus the Boots Corrupting for the Mordekaiser.
To rush, just keep going, just keep going.
Wow, just continuing to force that aggression top lane. Olaf with the inside track will find the Gragas at that buff. I wonder if he'll end up timing it out, trying to make it happen, but there's the Axe landing. Voperdo very much in danger. Gets the flash, not even going to look to trade. He just wants the buff and the pressure, a wise choice. Pulling that on back. They're still on the Mordekaiser, but Tygoon's still taking a tough situation there, and Voperdo getting forced out of his own jungle sans flash. Man, this is just the pressure we're looking for from an Olaf.
This is so much more punishing on a Predator jungler, because what a Predator jungler wants to do is he wants to get that free camp clear, then instantly activate a Predator, do a gank onto either mid lane, but he's still level 2. That Predator gank is going to be so late.
Right, and just delaying it is it's bladed thesis once again with the big brain, right? Oh, speaking of the big brain there, Lissandra is here, will take so much damage, and bladed thesis wisely forcing Lissandra on back. Does have the teleport available, will be forced to recall here. Oh man, Voperdo does manage to get the crab there, but it's a near miss once again.
I just kind of want to play the old Simpsons meme.
Huh?
You know the one I'm talking about?
Stop, he's already dead.
Oh, yeah. Let the poor man farm.
Oh, man. Tygoon is really just having a tough time here because of the Mordekaiser. Religious Beast, clearly very strong player on that champion and is, really done quite a lot of work with that here. And I'm curious to see how this matchup plays, especially a little later in the game, like around these major team fight phases, where the Mordekaiser is capable of, say, pulling Senna into the Shadow Realm and just blowing her up 1v1.
Harassment, 2 stacks, 3 stacks, 4.
Oh, Tycoon coming in here. That was a questionable obliterate, but the shield is up, forcing the flash.
The gank is here.
Olaf has, however, joined. Oh, goes back through. What a play from Tygoon! Absolutely huge. Olaf looking for these axes, but finds a ton of damage. Tygoon hitting the level 5 mark, but the true damage from the Olaf, absolutely huge, flashes in the bush and takes the trade kill on back.
So greedy. You did not need to do that. Your jungler had a guarantee. This is every jungler's worst nightmare in Silica. You're like, bro, I got this. I got this. Just let me kill him. But then your laner's like, but I want to kill. And then you as a jungler, you're just like, I hate you.
Man, that's just another mistake from Rutledge, getting over aggressive there. There really wasn't anything for the Mordekaiser to add to that fight.
the automatic guarantee. So, laners in solo queue, if your jungler has it, just let them have the kill. Don't risk your life,
Right.
please.
And some nice aggression there from VT Nelson and Storm coming on up here to kind of harangue the Gragas around this dragon and try to prevent that early Ocean Drake take. Really
Syndra stoning her off the river.
I like seeing that. You want to slow this game down just a little bit until your Olaf is capable of getting back on the map. Yeah, positive things overall here. Top lane is fairly even so far, and a nice CS lead coming through from the Mordekaiser. Big loss there from the Fiora, teleporting
She has
back
almost 6
into
advantage.
a
She can just
death.
keep on going.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. Forcing Lissandra on back. It's just very smart, aggressive play coming through here from Active Rush. And as
It is to
expected.
be noted, because of the early game, Mordekaiser was able to get a massive CS lead. So even though Fiora has the kill, the gold is virtually even.
Yeah. Not just that, but the experience lead for the Mord as well. Being level 6 and also having the Ninja Tabby is a very good asset as well.
And especially against a champion, like, literally 100% of your damage is through auto attacks.
Yeah. Mordekaiser are probably going to be looking to get some damage here on board at some point. We see the Lissandra pinging to come on up top, and Mordekaiser is smart. Will run this whip into the tower, back on off, get some of that
Lissandra
gold
going for the
spent.
top lane gank, but
Just a little bit slow
Mordekaiser
there.
is
Yeah.
level 6.
He's level 6. You really don't want to try to 2v1 a Mordekaiser unless you are absolutely certain that no one can assist and that you can actually kill the Mordekaiser 1 versus 1 as well. So
Mordekaiser has this old phrase from the Watchmen I like to recite.
yeah.
You're not locked in here with me. I am.
I'm
know
not
what
locked
I'm
in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Locked in
There
here
you
with
go.
me.
We did it.
Words we can speak the English language.
Oh god, Ethan forced the flash basically on cooldown with that Syndra, and look at this pressure generated by Expo. It is just absolutely monstrous.
This
And,
is the expo we know.
Wow, and Olaf using that opportunity to take a dragon solo. That regeneration going to come in handy, and full level lead against the Gragas, who has been quite mercilessly shut down here in the jungle.
I would like to see Rutledge adapt wisely to this matchup. Is all times he's casting E while Fiora still has her Riptos. You are the early game champion at Superior. You have the passive that counters countless melees. All you have to do is abuse your Conqueror, and this is take notes, top laners. Conqueror is a rune that rewards you for just playing over aggressive and running people down. So when you're in these type of matchups, just go a bit harder, run them down, bait Fiora out to use that W, and then you can go in with your pool.
All right, level 6s acquired for both sets of bot laners this game. The same level of aggression that we saw mostly in game 1, where both of these teams were very hesitant to go in. You know, not likely to.
Oh no!
Vampirdo,
Oh no! Oh no! I can't watch.
Okay, that was uncomfortably close. But Vampirdo does end up getting the red buff taken. Is now level 6 on the map. Has those Predator boots unlocked, getting closer and closer to the Runic Echoes, which is a nice power spike for him. And yeah,
So, watch horror movies as a hobby, and watching Forberto going for that final buff is scarier than anything that came out in 2020.
It was actually like watching Jason Voorhees advance on the poor unsuspecting camp counselor with a machete.
Good movie.
Ooh, Tycoon going
Just
in
keep-
top
just keep
here.
paying him.
Quite a
Just
lot
keep
of
paying him.
damage. There's the
They-
stun landing. Perfect.
You don't need to E first. Just keep walking. Like, it's so sad to see top laners not utilize Conquer to its fullest potential. It keeps on applying. It keeps doing more damage. Walk to her. She's gonna have to run away from you. She loses the auto battles. Do what Expo's doing.
Okay, well there's Ethan, who's going to be reduced to... Oh my
no.
god, Expo! You can't just do that to someone.
You kind of remind me of Lucy, where we're just going, oh, Lucy.
Expo, you got some splaining to do.
Expo, you got some splaining to do.
But I think a
part
big
is
thing here
Travis
is that
Jack probably doesn't know.
if there's been like one consistent thing throughout the series, it's that Ethan is
Yes,
really
they're using it correctly. Roof tail for platings. Get it after using it. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
there we go.
yes.
Oh, wow, Vapedo dropped low as well. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. Look at these CS leads. 20 plus CS leads in both mid and top lane, widening that gap. And yeah, Tycoon is close to the Tiamat and all that good stuff, but how do you deal with this Mordekaiser when your jungler has been so effectively shut out of this game? Like Vapedo, yes, even in CS, same level as the Olaf, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that Olaf has gotten both the neutral objectives so far. Tycoon has no relief from this Mordekaiser's onslaught top.
Whack-a-mole.
Yeah, exactly. Like Tycoon's getting clubbed by that hammer, and like Chuck E. Cheese tickets are spitting out of her mouth. Like,
Ring, 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 ring.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh boy, I'll buy a rubber band ball after I win lane.
Zoom.
Yeah. So,
How many sound effects do I have? Find out.
Ethan and Vapedo are here trying to find a way
Going to
on
bomb
in,
and dive.
but
Not
Storm
taking the
and
claw.
Nelson are definitely playing this one smart. The tower has not taken much damage, or if hardly any at all, not even close to a single plate taken. Storm and VT Nelson with the, as we said, the flash heal and the flash exhaust there coming on through. I love seeing this defensive bot lane option, and
You really gotta admire Storm. We said it together where you were the first to mention it. Storm has a really nice defensive, low risk playstyle and
Tycoon
just knows
getting
where to
pulled
position.
into the death realm. Fiora will go on down. Tycoon healing quite a bit. A nice parry.
Oh,
The
no.
flash on out, and Tycoon takes the solo kill. Big mistake from Rutledge. Speaking of mistakes, why does Rutledge not just put his back up against the wall when the Fiora ults?
Second big question: why are you fighting the Fiora in her healing Janna ultimate?
Well,
Walk away from it.
I mean, you're in the death realm. You can't go that far. But it was still a huge mistake from the Mordekaiser, right? It's going to cost multiple tower plates top and a lot of the advantage that you drummed up so far. That being said, though, Air Dragon will be picked up here. Virtually no contest. The pressure, but Rutledge's Beast finding the
always give her
Fiora here.
revenge.
Do you have the riposte? Do you have the speed?
Oh,
Oh my god. Whew, Tycoon escaping. Had the flash available. Vapedo
Oh,
is
no.
here. Does he have the damage, though? He's got the ultimate available. Blast Rutledge back under the tower. And the Senna ult will be enough to take that kill. Big mistake from Rutledge. Jeez.
on a 1 to 10, how tilted is Rutledge? I would say
Like
a
11.
solid 8.
A solid 11, dude. That's gotta put him in the spins. And that's a huge pickup for the side of Team Ishtar here, because again, they were really having problems, but it's going to buy them some much needed relief across the map, even as these towers are falling in the bottom and mid lanes.
Now the big question is here is
Bladed Thesis is here, as well as Expo looking for the stun. They find it.
they're preparing the waves.
They are preparing that. The spit on out, forcing the flash from Frostbite. A nice bit of exhaust comes on through Frostbite. Imperil, the
took
rest
too
of the
long.
team is here. They took too long. Storm8 not able to find that target. The stun comes on through. They will
Storm?
pick up one. Storm doing a ton of damage. A big stun onto Ethan. Vapedo has
trapped.
joined the fight. They are trapped. That's another nice turret coming through from Storm. Minion wave will last for one more creep, and it's enough to buy an escape.
Operation Saving Private Ryan is a success.
Wow, Frostbite able to live through that is absolutely incredible, and it just took just a little bit too long to make that play, and I mean, a lot of gold in the pockets of this Aphelios not spent before that fight.
The big unfortunate thing is that Sinner didn't have her flash there, and the reason why that was a big deal is because if she had flash, she literally just could have just gone flash, pew, done, we walk out. But because
Exactly.
it wasn't there, it just took way too long to complete.
Yeah, and that's
Now,
one of the
next big
faults of
question
that.
is, Fiora does outscale the Mordekaiser. He's not the late game beast he used to be on his release.
Mhm.
Does Fiora have enough stats to win the slap fight now?
The answer is almost certainly yes. The issue is that, like, Rutledge needs to be making better in-fight decisions. Not putting his back up against the wall versus a Fiora is a very, very silly mistake. Literally just face a wall, make sure she can't proc that final vital, and you're okay. But
Maybe he doesn't even know about it, because that's actually a little trick that most people don't know until they're told about it.
you have to find a way to deny that. And I mean, yes, we see the Mordekaiser going for a Morellonomicon here soon, but that doesn't fix the problem of taking the wrong fight at the wrong time. And we've seen Relish do a good job of
Missing your
punishing
skill.
it so far.
What is? Oh my
It was
god!
a blue buff.
I was like, Goku's charging the Spirit Bomb there.
Yeah, dude. Minions of the jungle, give me your strength.
Now this is where it gets a little bit scary from the side of Active Rush, because you had this big lead against the scaling team. You were on the right path to try to close this game out at 25 minutes. Fiora has 3 kills. Your top laner is very behind, and Senna is probably the hardest scaling ADC in the game due to the nature of her passive to allow her to infinitely get stats.
Right. That's a big thing, and this is a team that does start falling off heavily around 25 minutes, but Guelph is ahead. VT Nelson looking for the play, making a mistake. Look at that damage, and Expo is here. Frostbite very much in peril. Eaten up by the Tom Kent. Spit on out there. Storm, one more shot. All that's needed to take that kill. The stun goes just a little bit wide, but in the top lane, it's a 3 versus 1. Rutledge pulling Tycoon into the Shadow Realm, and you can't be making these split plays across the map. Ethan looking to go on in there, and they do find Frostbite, but it's a 1-for-1 play. Not the kind of trade you're looking for.
And Rutledge is going to be going to more armor, possibly as Zhonya's maybe. Maybe he's just going to devolve into a pure tank, but if he goes into this tankier build, the chances of him 1v1 Fiora are just completely, absolutely gone, to the point where I actually disagree with it. He's actually just better off trying to go into a full AP build, get the Stork Shoes, get your AP items right to the Honest Torment, and then maybe, just maybe, you can actually match the Fiora. But by going this build, you have completely forfeited your lane.
Oh, Sincere Support in trouble here. Eating a stun. Does have that Grail available. Nice exhaust. Landing onto the mid laner. Trying to find a pop there as the ultimate goes wide. Said it can't be found. Tycoon teleports back in. Tycoon is here. Is flanking. Lissandra joining. A huge mistake from the side of Active Rush. Ends up with 3 kills over to Team Ishtar.
Ishtar has found their teeth.
Man, and it's off these extremely over-aggressive plays from Active Rush, right? They were too deep. They didn't have the vision. They knew that Tycoon had the teleport, and they still went for the play.
But the big problem is here, on the side of Active Rush, while we do disagree with some of their calls, to a certain level, they do have to be over-aggressive. They do have to hunt down these plays, because they do fall off at 25 minutes. Tick-tock, 7 minutes left to go. Can you actually close it out? Answer is most likely no at this point.
They do still have some strong champions here. Aphelios has finished the Infinity Edge. Oh, Rutledge in very big trouble. This Tycoon is up here. You need to put your back to the wall. Do not even try taking that fight.
It can't see you if you don't move.
Oh, I got that dinosaur vision top lane, but it stands here about
and
1,000.
Tycoon is the T-Rex.
About 1,000 gold lead here. Tycoon healing up quite nicely with the Vamp Scepter. Gonna be looking for
the big question is,
slow
does
on
Rutledge
down
become
there.
the Spinosaurus?
Gonna be going for this play under the tower, looking for the riposte, finding that damage. Tycoon, one more hit from going down, does get slapped. A nice stun from the Lissandra as Ethan now in peril. They do manage to get a kill. The ultimate would be enough. Oh, one more hit as the flash comes through here. Frostbite is here. Volcardo now looking for VT Nelson on the Braum. They're going to be trying to make this play work. Storm has a lot of damage here for sure. Send us the call. Oh no, they're making mistakes. They tried to kill 2 and they end up paying the ultimate price. Team Ishtar is making moves all across the map, and it feels like Active Rush is so scattered, so split, they can't make their mind up on these plays.
Really shows you the power of the red side pick here, and I wonder what's going to happen if this goes into a game 4. If this goes into game 4, does red side become the prominent side again? Because we're seeing draft having such a huge impact on these games here.
Or do you see the momentum possibly shift? I mean, Tycoon having a much better game here, but really it's Frostbite on the Senna who is going off this game. Aphelios had the damage there, but simply would not commit to the kill onto Voperdo there, and it ended up costing him. I mean, I don't think there's any way
If
to
you were
really
just
get away
out
from the
1
Senna.
second sooner, you were fine. Just get out there. Literally just 1 extra second.
Yeah, but simply was not to be, and things looking difficult here for Active Rush. Scattered in this game, lacking the same kind of coordination, and a lot of it comes from the way that top lane is played. Rutledge is not having his best game.
His power spike is so delayed. Second item is Zonia's. No Rallies, no Leandri's Torment.
Yeah.
His best hope right now is if maybe they go for a team fight and he can activate his passive and just apply it onto multiple people.
Or
But
just
at that point, they might just be
Yeah.
too far behind to even do that.
Yeah, who is he even going to pull into the death realm is the question. I mean, Tahm Kench may be the best option if you're looking to lock someone down specifically. It's a lot of damage forcing the ultimate. Ethan
stuck
will inevitably fall here. Storm8 picking up that kill. That's certainly a target.
So valuable.
Want that on. That's a huge, huge pickup for the
Because I do want to
Aphelios,
remind on
and they're
something.
immediately going for the Baron. This could be absolutely huge. They have the damage. This objective getting shredded in a big way. The Mordekaiser ult available for pulling Voperdo
halfway
into
done.
the Shadow Realm. Looking for the stun. Tygoon dropped low. Voperdo trying to go over the wall. They're looking for that's a
Fight steal's gonna
huge
happen.
stun. Looking for that. Does pull him into the Shadow Realm, and easily secured. Tygoon now in trouble. Will be able to get the heal. Is pulled back on in, but will fall regardless. It's sincere support in the front line of the Tahm Kench, but Storm8 running an absolute riot with the Aphelios. The Kesk not enough to take the kill, and Expo trades his life for the Baron and the fight afterwards.
Ethan, you cannot be getting caught out when these big objectives are on the map. You don't need to push that far. Let the farm come to you. Freeze the Lance. Allow your Senna. Allow your Fiora to scale further. Because while, yes, Active Rush will get outscaled, but their teeth are not clipped yet.
Oh, Ethan in trouble still. The root does land, but that's half of the health on that Syndra. 2 items on board for Storm. Absolutely doing work on the Aphelios, and Bladed Thesis, a brilliant fight there in the pit. A nice secure, and a great use of that Mordekaiser ultimate to haul Voperdo into the Death Realm, pre-smite, and make it an easy secure for Bladed Thesis on the Olaf.
So one big thing to mention here is while I have been dissing the late game that Active Rush does have, if there's any champion that can 1v9 in the late game, it is Aphelios. You rewind back to that fight at the top lane when they were in that 2v2 situation, Aphelios with his turrets was almost enough to carry that fight alone. So,
Right.
all the gold right now, it is on Storm. He is even on Idol's move to Senna. If Storm can just manage to go into these fights left untouched, he will absolutely shred across the enemy team.
Absolutely filthy. Setting up for this dragon now. Fiora locked in the top lane against the Mordekaiser in the split push, looking to roll on down. Frostbite has popped that invisibility field on the Senna. Going to try and make this happen. Expo does land the stun. Fiora going to be here shortly. They're trying to contest, but Voperdo does not have the route on in. They'll take that. Rutledge's Beast hauling Voperdo into the Shadow Realm. They're looking for these targets. Voperdo getting some damage on down there, trying to go over the wall, but will head straight into the waiting arms of Expo, VT Nelson, and Storm. The dragon picked up, as well as the kill afterwards.
Now, this is where Mordekaiser can be scary in team fights, because if he can choose wisely who to ult, then you're in what could be a very compromising situation. And Rutledge, while he did have a very subpar lane phase, his team fighting has been phenomenal.
All across the series, 100%. Wow, Ethan forced to immediately reaction ultimate. Tygoon looking for the Olaf, trying to escape, and there's the flash. Rest of the team trying to join. A nice hourglass comes on through. Tygoon already bring the ultimate, will get that kill. The fight afterwards
Aphelios
now
is
in
untouched.
peril. Aphelios totally untouched, running a riot in the backline. Frostbite very, very low, eats the Aphelios ultimate. The ignite coming on through. Expo over the wall. Voperdo tries, swings, misses. Expo gets the double kill. What a huge play. Now looking for the mid lane inhibitor tower.
Three people are dead, only Fiora left to defend. Tahm Kench up. Maybe this can be a last-ditch effort to defend, but I think Active Rush actually goes for the end right here.
Oh, they're going to be looking for Bear minimum another tower. VT Nelson eating some shots. There's still 20 seconds until the respawns come through. A nice stun onto Tygoon. This damage from Storm on this Aphelios is absolutely disgusting. Tygoon trying to make it happen. There's the flash coming on out there. Roach's Beast eating aggro from the tower. The slow on down, looking for the stun. Tygoon will be caught, but snapped up by the Tom catch. They're looking for this. The respawns have come through. Tygoon will make it out to safety. A big root onto the Mordekaiser. Rutledge's Beast looking to escape. Will hit the Obliterate, but the slows are too much, and the pop on back will not land on a Sincere support. Mordekaiser following a 45-second death timer, but the second inhibitor cracked in exchange.
So,
oh, Tygoon is here. They're trying to kite this out. This is a desperate situation for the Fiora, and the stun lands with just enough time. Ethan trying to make it happen has come on through. A great ult onto Storm 8. That damage is insane, but not nearly enough for the inevitable CC train. VT Nelson looking for a taxi on onto Expo. Ethan trying to run them down, but the Q comes just short.
So, Active Rush kind of doesn't scale, but what dragon is spawning, my boys?
Infernal here in just another 2.5 minutes would be the one.
What does Infernal do?
Lots of damage.
Lots of damage. So, we were worried about the scaling damage for Active Rush, but RNG is very, very against Ishtar here.
I think the other thing you have to look at is that, like, yes, scaling is a big factor here, but multiple solo laners are ahead, right? Like, Zoloft is 4, 2, and 4. 2.5 yearly 3 items on board, which will give him better legs into the middle to later portions of this game. He's certainly still a threat against someone like, say, Frostbite Senna, who he can get on top of and just dump a bunch of damage onto very quickly. But Baron respawning here in under a minute now. About 2 minutes till the next dragon. These objectives are really going to be a deciding factor. Storm 8 was forced to pop the flash.
Storm has the QSS.
Does have the QSS, though. Major pickup, almost catching the recall onto Voperdo there, but not nearly enough. And, you know, really looking for potentially another catch out onto Ethan there. Look at that damage, forcing the ult. That's huge. Bladed Thesis is there, but that's a major cooldown.
I would debate Lissandra ult is way more important than Lissandra's ultimate.
Especially in this, but Ethan going to get stopped. Will be forced to claw on back, and they've taken yet another tower.
Pharaoh has no TP.
Paving the way to Baron. Rutledge doesn't have the TP either, but would be almost certainly necessary for this play. Rutledge absolutely cannot allow the Fiora to get the solo kill here. Must lock them down. A big root into Voperdo, but that's going to be Olaf in the front line, spitting him straight back out. Voperdo dropped very, very low here. Tygoon taking a fair bit of damage as well, but Rutledge's Beast mostly concerned with protecting that tower.
What makes it so unfortunate is that Fiora is a champion that's very signature for her tower dives.
Oh man,
but Mordekaiser is probably one of the last champions to actually want to tower dive here.
Halfway done with that Baron, looking to force a way on through. Stun does not land on those priority targets.
They're gonna turn
off the Baron. Voperdo very low still. Ultimate still available from the Aphelios. Health pool is fairly low for the junglers both. Voperdo and Bladed Thesis down to about half, but Bladed Thesis does have the Honey Fruit healing.
That can still Fire Dragon.
Through. Oh yeah, Fiora is in position for this, but many members forced on back there.
The position is in favor of
That's
Active Rush.
absolutely huge. Ethan forced to pop the Hourglass here. Expo
down.
could be in danger here. Eats that ultimate. The rest of the team not present. Does not have the flash. The exhaust. Not enough to stop that stun. Tygoon is present. They're looking to try to make this play look. Coming on through. Sincere support is here. Tygoon goes on in. Looking to stop the play. Olaf does manage to get the dragon. VT Nelson is here, and that damage from Storm8 coming on through. They're looking to make the play. They have the soul. They have the damage. But do they have the position? Tygoon on the right side of the fight will be able to escape. But that Storm doing an outrageous amount of damage. Still totally untouched at the backline. Is able to pop that tower. That's going to be another kill. Picked on up here. Ultimate is available. They will take two. Tygoon coming on back here. Storm looking for Frostbite. VT Nelson in the front lines there. And they will take the dragon, but they won't be able to push further at the moment.
Alright. If you're Active Rush here, you really want to reset right now. Push for this Baron. You have the scaling dragon. Scaling is no longer an issue here.
Oh, goodness gracious. Absolutely. In mid inhibitor Mid inhibitor respawning. Rutledge up in 15 seconds, but does have that teleport. Bladed Thesis coming back up shortly. Expo does have the reset coming on through. There's the flash. There's the stun. They find the damage. A huge pick on Desena. It's only Tygoon and Ethan as the remaining defenders. This bottom lane inhibitor tower will certainly fall. They're looking to catch on out, but the respawns are through. And that's a wave of super minions crashing bottom with the Baron already on board.
Looking really dark right now.
Things are looking rough indeed for the members of Team Ishtar. Resets are through.
Scaling no longer an issue. They have the Fire Soul. They have the Scaling Dragon on their side. Storm is being left untouched. Expo is doing a brilliant job time and time again to even saying, I dare you to ult yourself. You no longer have ult for the next team fight. And while Rutledge is having a really rough game, he is fulfilling his role. Team fight after team fight. Ulting the Gragas. Removing him as a factor.
Absolutely, they're starting up this Baron. The members are there. They're getting that vision over the wall. Mordekaiser is present, has the ultimate. Expo and Rutledge creating an insurmountable wall to this Baron, and Active Rush will take their second of the game.
At this point, they just need to spread out Dragon, get some people in top lane, get some people in mid lane. End the game out cleanly, take it out slowly. You don't need to rush things.
Just slow roll it. You have the open inhibitor mid. You have the only remaining non-Nexus tower in the top lane. There is no
on the side
need
of
to
Ishtar here.
rush.
Lissandra, stop getting to these 1v1s with Expo. You need to literally just flash, ult, storm, and even if he has to QSS, you just had to pray to God it works and he doesn't press the respawn in time.
Right, exactly. Mordekaiser going back to base, relieving some of that pressure, looking for a potential teleport in. This is not the play you want to make. Is teleporting back into the fray, will be forcing them back off this inhibitor. That's a second one going on down. Super Wave mounting bot lane. They have the creeps reinforcing top. This could be a third inhibitor, and it is the stranglehold of this game. Bladed Thesis caught over the wall, forced to pop that Olaf ultimate. There's a flash coming through as well. Super Minions looking to go into the base, and as they are looking to take that, worth mentioning, Fiora ult popped onto the Olaf, but was not able to be capitalized on. That's a major cooldown.
Syndra ult's coming back up soon.
Syndra ultimate in just a handful of seconds. Rutledge's Beast has that Shadow Realm usage on deck, pulls the Senna back, but cannot bring her into the Shadow Realm in time to capitalize. But Tygoon forced down there. What a huge stun! Frostbite crushed by the other. A huge cask, but can they capitalize? Roberto puts the hourglass on. Tygoon looking for his target, but the CC, the exhaust is there. They take the kill. It's only Ethan left, as well as sincere support, who will inevitably fall. A triple for the Syndra, and a clean 3-0 victory for the underdogs. Active Rush, your BTL Season 8 champions.
You doubted, they came, they fought, they proved 70% of the BTL fans wrong.
Wow, and what a dominant performance from the members of Active Rush, coming from behind, taking the game in game number 1, and proving everyone wrong, only to immediately sweep the series 3-0 right afterwards. Absolutely insane performances across every single game from so many members of Active Rush, and just a dynamite performance overall.
Now, the big question is, like, what actually went wrong for Ishtar today? The drafts, they were off point. The game plans, they were not followed. Things were not... You had this Talia in Game 2. Game 2 are free, and you really wanted to be this big sideway impactor. And in time and time again, she's being shoved in. She's using her ult for herself. The plans, they were off-center today. And all I have to say is, Active Rush, you guys did your research. You did your scrims. You had the drafts ready. It paid off.
In a major way, Phantom. And I think the big thing that smacks to me is that in every single one of these games, there were consistent players. Storm 8,
a star every single time.
Storm 8 had a fantastic series. Right, every single game playing very, very well, and a major contributing factor to his team's victories on a different champion every single game as well. Performed very admirably on each of them, and really a key factor there. And despite Expo's difficulties in game number 1, the Syndra play in games 2 and 3 was instrumental in their victories.
And
So,
I would say Active Rush's biggest strength today was we said at the start of the game that Ishtar's biggest strength is that they're stable players, but they
mhm,
don't have a star. Active Rush, I
mhm,
called it out. They have multiple people who can reach that star 5 level man.
yeah.
So while they may be less stable in playstyle,
Mhm.
if they are allowed to pop off, if they are once again allowed to do those backflips and make them work, if they're allowed to
Mhm.
stick the landing,
Right.
it gets nasty. It gets rough.
Absolutely. And I mean, seriously, just strong play overall from members of Active Rush, and Team Ishtar looked really shook after game number 1, and especially in 2. I felt like they could have lasted out game number 3, but some of the pressure generated by the members of Active Rush, simply insurmountable. That being said, though, we have reached the end of our best of 5. We'll see if any of the BTL admins are going to be coming in here for any kind of interview or talk about the season. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a few minutes with some of that information and see how that one goes. Oh, hey, welcome aboard, Ito.
Hi. I
So
was
we are
like,
joined none other than the current owner of BTL, Ito the Legend, the man who has kept BTL alive season after season. Everybody give the man a round of applause for binding us all together, bringing us here. Ito, what do you want to say right now?
thank you. Oh man, that was like I did not expect a 3-0 looking at how those first few games were going. I was a bit distracted the past few games. I was just kind of had it up on my second monitor watching that, and I realized that wait, this is going to be a 3-0. It did not look like it was going to be a 3-0. It was such a back and forth. First of all, we got incredible clips. Like there were so many just intense moments and amazing fights. I definitely
Mm-hmm.
had a good time watching this. You guys did awesome on the casting
Well,
once
thank you.
again. Got to give it up to Gas Pump and Phantom GG also coming through. And you see that we are live on a Friday night, which is not the typical BTL schedule. So we kind of had to adjust some things. So I'm glad that everyone came through and we were able to make the adjustment so that we could
Mm-hmm.
have finals here on a Friday night. So that was awesome. Congratulations to the teams that made it. Congratulations to Active Rush coming out big, taking down the undefeated Giants that was Team Ishtar, undefeated up until the very end, where Active Rush came in and showed that man with their full roster they are insane. So I have a hard time picking all stars. Yeah. So that's something that we should talk about. We should talk about what comes next. Well, first of all, obviously, Active Rush. Probably going to give them a role in the Discord for BTL champions. We're going to talk about the pricing. We're going to check what is in the PayPal and then double it because I'm going to match all the donations that were made throughout the season. And then those will be distributed to the team members of Active Rush. They are our champions, and we will be talking about what comes next. So, as Maria is talking about there in the chat, we're gonna do something a little bit different from the All Stars. We typically would do like some Shaw pulls or something like that, but that kind of ends up being all over the place. So we do plan on having some All Star events. We're gonna do it really soon, actually, as in next weekend, next time, in about 8 days, the 16th to the 17th, right, Maria? Yeah. Maria and I were talking about we're gonna do an All Stars, and we're gonna have the staff. We're gonna have the council gonna be choosing who are the two best people in each role, and that's how we will do the All Stars. What we're going to do as well is, so what I want to do is kind of similar to what we've done in the past, where we have some fun game mode. So like on Saturday we'll have like an All Assassins game, an All ADC game, maybe an All Support game, whatever Marie wants to do. Because I've been kind of really busy with work. That's why if you've noticed, I haven't been as around as much the past few days. I have a deadline coming up for work, so they've been giving me a lot of tasks. And then after that, we're gonna do a next weekend's All Stars hype, and then we're gonna do on that Sunday. We discussed that we're gonna do a best of 3 between the 10 All Stars that we'll be choosing, the two best in each role. So give us ideas of who you think those people are. We'll be having them go up into a best of 3 match. Oh, and I should talk about why would these people do that. What we're gonna do is for the special game modes, the ones that are just where we limit the champ pool to being all assassins, all ADCs. If you've kind of seen like the LCS All Star Weekend, they do something similar from we're gonna give $10 to the to the voted MVP of each match. They'll be getting $10 of RP. That'll be for those first 3 games on Saturday, and then on Sunday we'll give $10 to each person of the winning team, the best of 3. So we'll be giving out lots of more RP and giveaways there. I don't. I mean, I don't know how to properly hype up the end of BTL season 8. This was a fantastic season. Oh, did people say who they wanted to hear from the winning team? I know I asked in chat. Did I get a response there? Rutledge. Oh yeah, Rutledge. Of course. Where is Rutledge? Team captain Rutledge. Never doubted him for a second. Let me see if I can move him to where are we? Here. Did I
I
do it?
did.
Hey Rutledge, get
What's
get
up?
get dragged in the middle of your sentence.
What's going on?
Congratulations,
how do
you
you
won!
feel?
Oh wow, look at that! How does it feel? Look Hi.
Easy reads.
Easy.
I don't know. When we were in here the last time talking to Tygoon,
How did it feel? He talked to smack and you gave him the smack.
we let our actions speak louder than words. So
Oh, okay.
um,
You guys had quite the battles up in the top lane. It was team captain versus team captain in the top lane. That's always fun to see. So you guys kind of had not just your team, but also the personal bouts up in the top lane. And so how do you feel? How do you think everything went? Like, I guess it looks easy because it was 3-0. Did it feel easy, or were those games actually intense?
first game was a bit more intense. I think they had a bit of a better draft than they had in the rest of the games. We also just kind of like, I think we had a little less practice against the set support. And I think Sincere Support played it well. But yeah, the comp was just a little bit more challenging to deal with, but we eventually just won. Expo also didn't seem very comfortable on his Echo. That was by far his worst game in a while.
Do you think, Rutledge, that game one jitters had anything to do with the performance coming into the first of the night?
No, he picked I think he kind of went out of his champ pool because he was thinking that he would be able to hard counter Syndra, which in the 1v1, like, sure, you can dodge your R with Echo R. You can get, like, so you're gonna build Zanya, so you have like multiple ways of like dealing with Syndra as Echo. But into the rest of their comp, they had a lot of hard CC that he, I think, struggled against and got blown up a couple times. It just had kind of an off game, but I mean, obviously he dominated in the second two games. So
Right. It was that was hands down your best performance of the night in game number one on the Silas, where you just absolutely went off. And I mean, it was impressive, certainly, that you had kind of what some people would consider maybe a bit of a tough matchup, and you just kind of whomped.
I actually really like the Silas Mord. I think it's definitely a counter to the Mordekaiser. And they picked a really good comp for me to pick Silas into.
Yeah, the Ornn ult getting stolen was backbreaking a number of times.
Yeah, and I mean, they had the Set R, they had Ash R, which Ash R started to just blow people up towards the end of the game when I had some AP. My AD carry controlled me a little bit, kind of convinced me to pick Mordekaiser in the last game, and I really regretted it as soon as I did it. So that last game I wish I could forget, but my team carried me. So
now the thing I will say is that the Death Realm was actually pretty huge when it came to securing
Yeah.
the objectives, and that was
it's a good job.
yeah, it was actually one of the big things that allowed you to take that early Baron when you did. So yeah.
So
So,
I don't have much more to say. We talked about All Stars. We talked about what we're gonna do for the prize pool. How are you guys gonna spend your? I'm just gonna like round it to like I'll tell you guys the details. Make sure your players get in contact with me for what they want for the prizes because we'll individually distribute it. I just sent the message in your team chat, and if you see it there, and we'll be back next week with All Stars. We'll talk about we'll post more. There'll be more posted in League News and with more specifics. I'm not sure if I explained it super well. Bring the ADC to Storm. Do you just want to hear from everybody? You just want to hear from everybody? Storm8 is someone that you said. Frostbite. Frostbite's an incredible ADC. You gotta really give it up to him as well. I mean, you gotta give it up to all the Team Star people. I mean, even if they lost here, they did incredible throughout the season, right? And they were just
a feels bad moment where
Yeah.
you win every single game throughout the season, and then finals comes, and then Rutledge says, "Yo, me Silas, me slam you with chains."
Yeah, I mean, they like Activerse is like, oh, look, so the first time that we played you guys, we didn't have Rutledge or Expo, and they tend to be our two carries. So what happens whenever we have everybody? Oh yeah,
Like,
it's a
no one
little
says
bit
it better
more-
Gaspom. It's literally just Exodia.
You just gotta assemble
Yeah.
Exodia, dude. It's the one.
The quote of the century was when he asked if I hope Bladed's better at jungle than he is mid, and the answer is yes, he plays jungle, not mid. I don't even know what that was supposed to be like saying there.
Okay, so do we have both bot lane did good? Yeah, exactly. Everybody plays so well. Like it feels
There's
like
one question
bad
I would
'cause
like
it's
to
one-sided.
ask. Could
go
I
ahead.
ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Rutledge, so you guys just won BTL. You're a solid team. Granted, your roster is a little bit different because it's customized for BTL, and to apply to its rules. But do the
Mhm.
5 of you stay together and do other competition? What's the plan for you guys? Are you gonna go to like ABL, Nightfall? Like, what's the future of this Active Rush lineup?
So the actual active rush lineup that plays in like mostly like hot, like plat and under leagues basically is me shoving over to mid, and then we have Crobo Logic in our top side. But that's actually our starting lineup if we just made that one alteration. So we play in Active Rush League, which we have our own league going on right now for platinum and under players.
Oh yeah, I think you've posted an advertisement for that, right? I believe.
Yeah, I believe I
yours
posted a
was-
community advertisement. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we also play in like leagues like ZGG, and we were going to play in Upsurge. We got third place in Upsurge in this last split on the UGL series or the season. So we'll play.
So for the Active Rush fans, what is the closest thing they can look forward to right now?
Well, Active Rush League streams most of our games, and we are playing in that currently. And then Upsurge is probably a close second to after that. That should be starting in like a couple weeks.
How far into the Active Rush League are you guys? And like, what's the overall like?
Week 3 is
I guess-
finishing Tuesday.
Okay, and what's the overall runtime look like? Like, how many games are you planning to have?
I think it's 11 weeks regular season and probably like 3 weeks playoffs.
Okay.
Well,
Okay, and
you heard it there,
what
folks.
days do you guys play on? When do you play? Like, what time of week?
It's actually scheduled by the teams, but the default
okay.
time and most teams play Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Okay. There you
Alright,
go.
so if
Go
you're a
check
fan
them out.
of Active Rush and want to continue supporting their content, they play in the Active Rush League on Wednesdays at 8 Eastern. So, anything you want to close this off with?
Yeah, I mean, also, if you're a fan of them, you can also look to see them next season of BTL. We're not going to go away. We've done eight of these seasons. We're not just going to die. We've almost died multiple times, by the way. People know the full history of BTL. We've gone down to like zero activity.
facts in the Phoenix Downs.
Yeah, we've gone down to zero. I want to say viewership. We've gone down to very low viewership and very low membership before. We've gone down to no activity in the Discord. Discord goes completely dead for months on end, but we always come back. And now that I'm here and I'm on the roam, we have a bit more of a income coming into the stream. We're not gonna die now. Now we'll be starting back up in like 3 to 4 weeks, I believe is what we will need. We're gonna try to do an all stars. I want to do like we've talked about all sorts of different events that we're gonna do, like a 1v1 tournament. I love doing 1v1 tournaments between seasons. Expo actually won the last one, big surprise. So that we did back in December, we do around a $50 prize pool. I may bump that up to a $100 prize pool this year. We'll see. Just because I actually have a job now, so maybe. And we'll be announcing all that. We were thinking maybe a Teamfight Tactics tournament, maybe a. I personally want to figure out how to do a Legends of Runeterra tournament because I've loved that card game recently, but I don't know if anyone else is with me on that. So if you are, hit me up because then we could talk about that and we can make that happen. I'm not sure if anyone still plays that game. I know it just came up, but people were playing it whenever it came out in beta, and now I feel alone. So I would love people to play with, so hit me up. And we'll also be announcing the rules for the next season. We'll be working on those. I think, so people are asking, are we going to do a draft like we did for this season? I kind of want to talk to the different BTL. I kind of want to talk to different people that competed this season and what they felt like. How did the tournament go? Actually, you know what? Rutledge, hey, you're in here. Team Captain Rutledge, what did you think of the combination of the kind of like the draft core, like the team core that we had, the captains pick, those 3 players that were going to be your core, and then drafting the rest of your 5 players? And it ended up being for you guys pretty much had your team core plus Expo. So I guess, like, how did that work out for you guys? What do you think of the different balancing of the tournament? How the season feel with that sort of drafting plus pre-made setup? Because we're thinking we either go back to fully pre-made teams like we had 2 seasons ago. That may be the best. But we'll talk about that.
It was a nice little twist. I mean, we obviously probably wouldn't have had Expo on the team without it. But we enjoyed playing with him. I think he had enjoyed playing with us. Had some laughs. But I definitely was glad to get like the core 3 members, and then luckily nobody picked up my top laner in the draft. So, I mean, it was enjoyable. That's for sure.
Okay, awesome. So we'll probably we'll talk about that. I think right now we're leaning. I think we have teams that have contacted us about being interested in taking part of the next season. If you're interested in taking part of the next season and you want to get in contact with me before we put out all the different forms, just to like gauge what we're gonna do in terms of rules. I have some ideas of the rules. We have some ideas of what we're going to do for the overall structure. You can get into contact with me. Of course, you can always message me on Discord, and I'm happy to get back to you. Also, the rest of the staff members, they are mostly, especially Maria and stuff, we are keyed into the thing we're going to be talking about. We're going to be making plans for Season 9 soon. We've estimated the starting of June. If people keep asking, people always ask, when are we starting? And I'm like, before, whenever we did the draft, we didn't know. But if we're doing a pre-made team, then we get people contacting me earlier that they're interested. Then we will know sooner. And that's pretty much. I can't think of if anything else that I may have been missing out to say. We'll be announcing things. I didn't have a. I didn't expect it to end, so I didn't have time to prepare my spiel. But now we're gonna look for someone to host. As always, we have a nice 30 viewers here. We did peak at 40 tonight, so we did get to do those 2 giveaways. And we're gonna be looking for someone to host. To kind of share the love. Be sure that you go and say hi to them. Give me a name. Give me somebody to host. I'll go look at my following list. I'm not being a sugar daddy right now. Well, I mean,